It's shorter than you think. No think.
The Holy Trinity, Bermuda, Alaskan, and Bridgewater triangles. Some say even notable deaths. The significance of 3 is undeniable. You are to bear witness to yet another event. We're invited to join your hosts, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy, as they guide you down the rabbit holes of the paranormal and unexplained, striving for answers of this world and beyond. Welcome to Blondes, Booze, and the Woo.
Hi, welcome everybody.
Hello.
Good morning. Good
Yes.
morning.
It has been a trying last 30 minutes, though.
Oh, it's been horrendous.
It has.
Not for me. I mean, I was
between
good.
you and Randy coming to the rescue.
Hey, I gotta ask you guys. Hey, before we even get started, who's Aaron, me or Randy?
I guess you could both.
I just
Yeah.
heard I heard it in the introduction. I'm sorry, girls. I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, goodness. So we thought we would just come on tonight, and I was feeling a little spooky. And Chris was like, well, why don't we do a show? I'm like, well, why not? And so she's like, well, what time do you want to do it? We started talking about 11 o'clock, and my daughter was gone, and I had to go pick her up. And I'm like, you know what? Let's make it 11, so I can go pick her up. And then I'm like, no, let's do midnight. I'm feeling spooky. Let's do midnight.
Yeah,
So here we are.
hour.
Yeah.
Witching hour.
Well, midnight for you guys, 1 a.m. for me, and in 2 more hours, it will be the witching hour for me.
Yep, it sure will be.
Well,
So Brandy
the-
and I were like, let's do this, and all of us have a text, that go on. We're like,
Don't even get started
guys,
on that.
See who else wants to hop on. So here we are.
Yeah,
but
it's only
Go ahead.
Saturday night. What am I doing? Just sitting around.
Usually I'm in bed.
I had to get out of my pajamas.
I'm not talking to her. She's the one that shamed me into this.
I did. He's like, oh, I got to drive in the morning, blah, blah, blah. And I said,
Right.
well, the blondes don't sleep.
Yeah.
We're on this all the time.
Yep.
Y'all need to get a life, okay?
Well, I do have to say this. I normally don't go to bed till about 3 a.m.
True.
So
So it's good for you.
I'm usually up.
So this is good timing for you.
Yeah, it's not bad.
A wind down before bedtime.
You all
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah.
No, we honestly, we just thought we'd come on here, and Brandy sent me some pictures, and we had technical difficulties, so I don't have the pictures on here, but Brandy, you want to talk about it?
Well, I first have to say is, everybody says the witching hour is at 3. And of course, that is my belief. But I'm telling you, I don't think the veil is thinnest at 3 a.m. I think it usually starts after midnight, about 1 o'clock, and it'll last till whenever. I've had most of my experiences have been after 1 o'clock. What we wanted to do is because I felt a little bit spooky tonight, I thought that I would come on and tell my entire story of my own experience in my home, because if you watch Blondes and Booze, and I hope you do, you'll hear parts and pieces of it. And so I thought I'd begin at the beginning and talk about it and see what everybody thinks about it. Well, back in 2009, I had bought this house. I was not married at the time, and I bought this house, and immediately after I moved in, I was by myself. And you would hear like footsteps. You'd walk down a hallway and then you would hear footsteps coming after you. And then you turn around and of course nobody's there. It was
Well,
just little
revert
things
back
like that.
real quick, Brandy. Let them know your house is not ancient old either.
Oh gosh, no. My house was built in 1984. The people who had built the house originally are still living. Nobody has died in the home. I've researched the property. There are no deaths that were, recorded at any time. Nothing. There's just nothing. So anyway, when I started getting these little things that would happen, it would be like the footsteps, and then you would hear like, just a little knock or something. And I just thought, well, maybe it's just the house, it's settled. It does whatever, who knows? Well, as time went on, then it began to be like, then I'd hear like a clink or something in the kitchen. And then I'd hear a cupboard opening and closing in my kitchen. Then it sounded like there was a party going on out there. Like you could hear like footsteps going through the house. You can hear, of course, the cupboards closing. You could hear drawers opening. It was like that all night long. Finally, one night I decided I was going to get up because I was angry. And I opened my bedroom door and I yelled out there and I said, look, if y'all going to play, you're going to have to play quietly because I've got to sleep. And remarkably, it all calmed down. So then it went on like that for a while. And then came the disembodied voices. I would start hearing voices down the hallway when I wouldn't have a TV, a radio, the phone, nothing was going. I would start hearing these voices everywhere. But I didn't really pay any attention to it. And my neighbors are not close at all. So if they were in their home or anything making noise, any racket, I wouldn't hear it because I live in a rural area. There's 5 houses on my whole road. And I live off a gravel road. I'm sorry, my allergies are killing me. Anyway, so in 2013, my dad passed away. My mom at the time decided that she was going to have him cremated. Well, when she had done that, she figured that when she passes away, that I will take them both to Colorado where they were married, and then, I would scatter their ashes. Well, when the funeral home called her and said, hey, his ashes are ready, she couldn't. I said, go get him. So I did. Now I had to drive 70 miles down to the funeral home, and I picked up his ashes and I seatbelted him in my car. We played music and talked all the way home. So as soon as I got home, I put him on my mantle and I said, well, Daddy, you're home. And he always joked in this house, I have a 3-car garage, and that third bay was always his. Because when he would go, hunting or he was a motorcycle enthusiast, and he would come up here and drop his trailers off and ride his motorcycle. And so that was his bay. He even had his own garage door opener. He loved that. So, he would just pop in and whenever he felt like it. So that was pretty cool. And then after he had passed away and I brought him home, well, there would be little things that would happen then. It's like I couldn't find my keys one morning for work, and I was running around the house, and I'm frantic because I hate being late. And I was running around the house, and all of a sudden I heard his voice going, Brandy, they're on the table. And I turn and I look, and my keys are on the table. And little things like that kept happening. Now, he used to play this joke, like when I would go to his house, I'd go to open the door to go in the house. Well, he would stand behind the door without me seeing him, and he would block that door. So when I went to open the door, it would be stuck, and I couldn't get in. One day I'm walking in from the garage into the kitchen, and that door was stuck. I couldn't get in. And then all of a sudden it opened, and I started laughing. I'm like, what is wrong with this door? Now that door has not been stuck since or before that. It has never been stuck. So let's fast forward to COVID. My oldest brother, I believe, contracted COVID before they knew what COVID was. And he got very sick. He was in the hospital in Roanoke, Virginia. They called my mother here and they told her to come because they didn't think that he was going to make it through the night. So we got her on an emergency flight to Roanoke, Virginia, and he made it. And eventually, after a week, she was able to get him well enough to bring him back. Now, at that time, nobody knew about what COVID was. So they put him on a plane with COVID. Now, if he had COVID still going at that time, I don't know. But they brought him home and he came to live here. With that, he developed congestional heart failure, kidney failure. His diabetes went out of control. He ended up having half his foot amputated. There was multiple issues because of COVID. And I personally believe that COVID actually brought these, they were existing, but it just brought them up to the surface and made them, just horrible. So he moved in. Well, his son decided to come and stay with us here also. So they were with us for quite some time. And then in November of 2020, they decided, hey, we're going to get a house, but here in town, so we could still, take care of them and all this other kind of stuff. They're going to get a house, him and his son. And so they moved out in November of 2020. My nephew turned 21 in that time. And in January of 2021, he was killed in a single car accident about 16 miles from my house. Now, this is hard to talk about, so here we go. It was like 2:00 in the morning. We don't know exactly what the circumstances were. All we know is that he veered off the road. It was very early in the morning. He hit a tree and the vehicle caught fire. They said that he was still alive when he had gotten to the hospital, but they don't know if he was coherent or knew what was actually going on. But then he had passed away at the hospital. Since then, about a month later, things started happening in my home that were even more than what I had going on already. Now, in that third bay, again, of my garage, he would go out there because he would smoke cigarettes, and my mother is a cancer survivor, so he's not allowed to smoke out in that area. So I sent him out to the garage. Well, he would turn on the big light, and there's a window, and it shines light right in my room, and I'm like, hey, you can't do that. I said, go out to that third bay and turn on the garage light, the overhead for the garage door. And he would go do that. He would sit out there for hours and he'd smoke, play on his phone, listen to his music, do whatever, so he wouldn't wake anybody in the house, which didn't bother me at all. But when he passed away, one night I was here and I was looking out the window and I seen the garage light flicking on and off, on and off.
I remember that night.
Yeah. And it just kept flicking. And I'm like, oh my God, what is happening? I called my mother and I said, hey, sit on my bed with me for a second. She said, okay. And we watched it. And it was just flicking on and off, on and off, on and off. And as soon as I would go out there, it would stop. So then one night I'm here all by myself. My mom and my youngest daughter, they went on a little vacation, of course, working. I couldn't go. So I don't know what woke me up, because the lights usually don't do it, but it did. It woke me up and the lights were flicking on and off, on and off, on and off again. And I was smart enough that time to, hey, get your phone. So I got my phone out and I'm videotaping this the whole time that this light is going on and off, on and off, on and off. So you can hear it in the video that I'm actually getting, I don't think it was anxiety. I think it was just like the adrenaline was starting to kick, because I am here by myself. And like I said, even when I ghost hunt, I have somebody with me for validation. So I had my phone for the validation part. So I got up and it wasn't very warm. So I put on a jacket and stuff and I went out to the garage. And as soon as I went out to the garage, that light stopped. And it was that overhead garage door light. I went over and I'm taping the whole thing. This is all on camera. And I went over and I shut that particular door off. There was no power going to the door. So even if you were to manually open the door, the garage light would not come on. There was no power. So, and then after that, I was laying in bed and I got this on video too. I'm watching the curtain move. You know, I'm just watching it move and I can't figure out why that was happening. So again, I called my mom. I said, hey, come here. So we were trying to figure out every which way to figure out why this curtain was moving. I'm thinking, well, I live out, you know, in the country. It feels nice. It's not uncommon, you know, to get one or two in the house. So I'm thinking maybe it was that. No, it wasn't. The only way that we could get that curtain to move is when my mom stood directly in front of it and in front of my dresser, because it sits behind the dresser. She stood there and then the curtain would move. Mm-hmm. So it was blocking the airflow right there in front of me that made that curtain move. So something that was invisible at the time had to have been standing there and blocking that, you know, blocking the airflow.
I saw the videos, so yeah, I can say.
So, so your airflow was being blocked.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
By something, as you said, invisible, or spiritual, or whatever. Man,
whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah. When I think about like invisible or spirits, I wouldn't think. To me, when I think about it in my head, Brandy, I'm thinking transparent, translucent, air would flow through it. So there was something about this, right? That had a blocker of something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was the only way, is we had to have my mother stand in front of the dresser to block the airflow. And then it would just swirl the curtain. Yeah. So we didn't understand that.
It's just different ways of manifestation is what it really amounts to.
Right. So then here it gets weirder. It gets weirder.
Oh yeah.
So I've talked about this part recently. Well, even let me back up just a little bit. And then my daughter was like, she got up one morning. She goes, "Hey, Mom." I said, "What, baby? What's going on?" She said, "You know, when I was in there laying down," she goes, "I was laying down on my stomach, and you know, and I'm playing with my tablet." And she said, "It felt like somebody came and sat on my legs." I said, "Okay." And, you know, and the funny thing is that she knows, and we talk about this openly in my house, because, you know, I don't want my children or anyone to be scared, you know, so we talk about it openly. I said, "Well, what do you think?" She goes, "I think it was Aaron," which was my nephew. She goes, "I think it was him." She goes, "He always used to come sit on me." And I said, "Well, that makes sense."
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then, you know, things started going a little bit crazy, and then we're like, calm down. Okay. Everybody in the house, including spirits, y'all got to calm down. Cause I try not to talk to them, but when I get upset, you know, I'm like, "Hey, hang on, let me get your drink." So then, things started really getting super weird. I was driving to work one morning. This was just recently. I was driving to work and I had saw a black shadow, like a person, standing there, and they were like, well, they weren't standing there. They were walking towards the road as if they were going to cross it. So I slow down and I look ahead, you know, to make sure that nobody's in front of me. Of course, I should have known there wasn't nobody there, because it's so early in the morning. But then I look back over to watch this person to make sure I don't hit them, because they were looking like they were coming across. I look back and there's nobody there. And it's flat. There's nobody there. There's nowhere for them to go. They're just gone. And immediately after I saw that they weren't there, I got a smell in my car it reminded me of hot grease, like super hot grease, like almost to the point where it's like burning.
Mhm.
And that lasted for about, I would say, a tenth to a quarter of a mile, maybe even a little longer. And then it was gone. And since then, things have really gotten super crazy.
What kind of grease are you talking about? You talking about like grease from a vehicle or grease from a fryer?
Like cooking grease, like cooking grease.
Like
Yeah.
French fry grease coming that had been burnt up type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, you know, it's time to change the grease when you're cooking
Exactly.
something.
Yep.
Yeah. So, you know, and Krista, I'm going to let Krista tell the story here. Sorry. Allergies again. So we went to Michigan. Everything went good to me, you know, good for me in Michigan. I had no incidents, no experiences, nothing. But I'm gonna let Christy tell you this part of the story because this happened to her. Go ahead, Krista.
So I firmly believe that your hitchhiker ditched you for that weekend and hung out with Letitia and I. Letitia not only went with us, and she and I shared a room. And she is not into ghosts at all. You know, they're totally cryptid. That's it. And we went up and we was laying down. She was laying in her bed and I was laying in my bed. And it sounded like something dropped and fell on the ground. Something heavy fell on the ground. And I got up and looked, nothing. I mean, there was nothing on the ground. So she was kind of freaked out a little bit. Didn't bother me though. And I went, laid back down, and about 10 minutes later, it happened again. And it was from the same area. Got up, I looked, and she's like, please tell me there's something on the ground. Sorry, nothing on the ground. Anyway, I wasn't scared, so I just went back to sleep. Well, Letitia, apparently, she ended up staying up all night, not sleeping, and I didn't think about it because she's not used to ghosts. She was scared to death all night long and said she was going to go hang out with Brandy because Brandy didn't have any issues. But you took him back home with you because he left us and he went back with you.
He did. Because let me tell you, I got home Sunday. Now, anybody who travels with me, don't expect to get home on time or, you know, quickly, because I am one of those people that will stop and I'll look at the biggest wooden shoes in the world, or, you know, the biggest yarn, or this time I stopped at Uranus Chocolate Factory.
Oh God, that's a 72-minute stay right there.
I know. So I did that.
The Uranus Chocolate Factory wrapped in yarn.
There's one in Missouri too.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
So I had to because it's aliens. You've got to, and of course they've got their Bigfoot stuff, and you just have to go look, you know. So like I said, so by the time I got home from the trip, I was just super tired. So I, you know, unloaded the car, put my stuff away, and I'm like, you know what? I'm ready for bed. I got to get up for work early, and I said I'm going to bed. So I laid down and I played on my phone for just a few minutes, and then I rolled over, turned on my life, and just, you know, how you get that feeling when you're tired and you get in bed and you get in that right spot and your whole body just relaxes. It's just like, I'm here, I'm home, I'm good. As soon as I got that feeling, I heard a male voice in my ear say, Brandy. I'm like, wait, no, if you're a spirit in my house, you know that my room is not where you go. My room is off limits. You can do whatever you want in the house. You know, stay away from my room. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Crystal J. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Definitely appreciate it.
And I heard this, and I'm thinking that is not even a voice I recognize. It wasn't my dad. It wasn't Aaron. And I'm thinking, this is the hitchhiker. This is who I picked up. It's like they jumped in my car. That's the only way that I can explain it. Mm-hmm. And I said, it's back. And I'm like, great. So since then, I've had had plumbing issues in my house. Oh, gosh. So we've had to have them come out 2 times, and each time they've had to tear out something and make something. And then my brother's been here, and he's ripped up stuff. And, so we're doing, a little bit of work in the house and stuff. And I think it's riled stuff up to the point where they're becoming visible. Now, the other morning, and I must say it was Wednesday morning, because I think, Krista, I said I was going to tell you this, and I didn't get to tell you right then. I walk out my garage, and in the third bay is where my Jeep is. And then there's my mom's car, and the closest one is my car. Out there in the third bay, I watched a tall shadow figure walk the length of my Jeep and disappear.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, okay,
Andy?
so I don't know if that's my nephew or my hitchhiker.
Okay.
I mean, the height of it is my nephew. That's what it looks like, because he was very tall. So that's what it looked like to me, because it was right at I got a jacked up Jeep, and it was right at the roof of it. And I'm thinking, wow. So that is what's happened to me so far. My mom has been complaining of people, yelling out, "Mom, Mom." And I'm the only one in the house that calls her mom. My daughter doesn't, that's Oma to her. So, but she kept hearing "Mom, Mom, Mom," but it's not me calling her. But she said it's a male voice, and then it's a female voice. And so these voices are coming to her, which is not unusual for her, because she's experienced this her whole life. But it's unusual because we're getting so much activity all at one time now. Seems like we started working on the house, and everything is just going crazy right now. But as of right now, that's my story.
You need a cleansing.
That's what it sounds like.
I mean, I
don't even know if
I need a cleansing, but I need to be selective.
Yeah.
I don't. If my nephew wants to stay, fine.
Yeah.
If my dad is here, fine. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
But I don't like the ones that are intruding on my personal space.
Yeah.
That's where I'm starting to draw the line.
You can't just pick and choose when you start doing cleansing. You're not picking and choosing, obviously, on that. So
right.
So
yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good point, Randy and Chris and Brandy. I was just thinking, because as you guys know, I'm learning more about what you guys have been showing me. But if you do a cleansing, let's say, okay, you have loved ones around you, and then you have the shadow people that we're undetermined what they are. So if you do a cleansing, does that only eliminate nefarious entities, and your loved ones will still not be affected? Because I think that what I would, from my understanding, okay, if you did a cleansing, it just gets rid of bad, but good will still be present.
So whenever I personally do a cleansing, number one, you have to mean the words you say. You can just say them and it won't do anything. You have to mean it from your heart. And I always say positive adjectives, only love, light, peace, joy, happiness allowed in this house. All others leave, and leave now. That's how I personally do it. So yes, Rob, I would agree with you.
But we don't know if these shadow people, though, Brandy, were your nephew or what it was. Then you're uncertain with that.
So then you're flirting with fire on it too. That way,
right? As much as we would like to say, "Oh yeah, that's my nephew," or that's just my. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pin that on them. I don't want to pretend that this is harmless either. That it might not be. I mean, I don't. I think it's like, I don't want to say a trickster or anything. I mean, they're not doing anything bad.
Yeah.
But they're in my space.
You just don't want them in your room itself, though, right? Is that the way I understand it?
Yeah, in my personal space. Yeah, it's kind of like, as Krista knows, and I talk to her about this all the time, that I need to decompress. Yeah, I need to have a space where it's mine and mine alone.
Isn't there? And this just goes back to old. I shouldn't say old wives' tales, really, but isn't there's other I shouldn't say cleansings, but there's ways to put up barriers, and I think Lorraine Warren talked about it a lot. Certain areas of the house they were able to put up barriers to maintain your
Hmm.
secrecy or your
Right.
personal space. I don't remember everything she said about it, but
Well, again, it's all about your intention, like whenever I do private cases, and sometimes, the spirit, once you realize there's nothing negative, and people can learn to coexist with Brandy, as
exactly.
Brandy shows.
Mhm.
You can tell them, listen, my bedroom is off limits. You don't scare my kids, you don't scare my dogs. And most of the time, honestly, if they're good in life, they're good in death, and they'll hear you,
Yeah,
and
Mhm.
you won't have those issues.
yeah.
So,
Mhm.
maybe Brandy, you need to reaffirm your intentions again.
Yeah, or I think it may be, quote unquote, my hitchhiker that we've talked about
Yeah.
that doesn't know the rules.
Well, he needs to go though. He doesn't belong.
Yeah, yeah, that's one that doesn't need to stay
He
here.
needs to go.
Yeah, because like I said, there is no background on this house,
Yeah.
Right.
none.
Mm.
Like I said, the people who built it are still alive. There's nobody who died here. There's no history or anything about or any reported deaths or anything here.
Well,
Yep.
plus
So
that's more of a modern day house too, right, Brandy? As
Right.
Chris, I think, said earlier, it's built what in like the 80s, 90s?
Yeah.
yeah, it was built in '84. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now here's another thought about it. Now you're southwestern Missouri, right?
Yep.
Southeast.
You're
Southeast.
southeastern Missouri.
Yes.
Okay, so that entire area, almost all Missouri, you're talking about the Civil War runs of Bloody
I
Bill
was thinking that too.
Anderson,
Yep.
and so you got those guerrilla warfare style Civil War battlefields
Yep.
everywhere in Missouri.
Yep. And
You may have
even
something passing through that
Yep.
area.
I agree, Randy, because there's skirmishes. There were skirmishes all over, and
Mhm.
and you can drive through Missouri and you'll see a little roadside park there, and it'll
Yeah.
say, this little skirmish happened here,
Yeah.
and it'll tell you the history. So who's
Yeah.
to say
Exactly.
you didn't even have something like that, or even eons ago,
Yeah.
there might have been another home there, that somebody lived there and
Yeah. I
had,
mean,
or
Well,
look at
they actually,
Centralia. Centralia's right in the
yeah.
middle of an open field. Boom, out of nowhere. Boom, there it is.
Yeah.
So
Are you talking about Centralia, Missouri?
yeah, I've been there a few times.
Really? We'll talk
Oh, yeah.
about that after Brandy's, because I got some
Okay.
cool ghost stories about that place.
Oh, don't even start me, because when I was at Leonardwood, that's where a lot of our stuff was done up around Centralia. So
Wow.
Okay,
We'll finish on Brandy, and then we'll go back to
and
that.
yeah. So, I know that it's coming to the point where I've got to do something,
Mhm.
and I'll explain why. It's like I'm tired all the time.
Mhm.
It's like something is sucking the life out of me, the energy. I don't go out with my friends like I used to. I even hate getting out of bed unless I have to. Um,
like you got
it's just
sleep
things
apnea.
like that. I'm just exhausted all the time.
Mhm.
I've been to the doctors. Nothing's out of the ordinary. There's nothing that would cause that medically. It's just how I feel.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, it could be because I had COVID back in July that this may be a side effect still lingering. Um, I don't know. But it is getting worse than I thought it was. It's like the feeling of dread when you have to get in the car and go somewhere. Going to Walmart has never been a good idea, but now it's even worse because
Is ever going to Walmart a good idea anyway?
No.
I wonder.
oh God, living in a small town when that's all you've got, that's
Well,
all
okay.
you've
Well,
got.
Brando, I'll give you that.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, we used to have Kmart a couple years ago. Well, a few years ago. We don't
Yeah,
have that no more.
what? I loved Kmart. Yeah, mine went away about a decade ago.
Yeah.
But see, but that's all we have. I mean, as for clothing stores, we have a few.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a few, but
A lot of
mostly
local
all we've
places,
got
though,
is
right?
restaurants. Yeah, if you want to eat, we're good. We can go eat anywhere. There's
Well,
food everywhere.
I need some of those
But,
Missouri ribs.
Missouri.
Missouri.
No. You need to take him to Rolla and get off of 44 at Rolla And there's that nice fried chicken place right there as you get off. Best fried chicken you're
Oh,
gonna
I
have.
know where you're
Hey,
talking.
I'll eat that too, Rando. You know
Oh
that.
my
Rando,
goodness.
Brando.
That woman
Man,
can cook
it's
her
all
butt
good.
off.
It's
I'll
all
tell you
good
that.
with me. It's all good with me.
Well, you know, for
Sorry.
everybody out there who doesn't know, Tex is out of town this weekend. Well, he had to send us pictures of where he went to dinner and what he was
Oh
eating.
We
yeah.
don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that.
No,
That's
you
right.
don't.
Let me tell you about this slab of ribs, okay? Let me just tell you.
It was a horrible picture, Brandy.
Well, it was horrible for the ribs anyway.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he sent us that picture too. The after.
Yeah. I said he left enough on his plate. I could have had lunch tomorrow with that.
Yeah, Brandy, you're right. You know what? Yeah, Brandy, and I thought you were going to say this. You almost did. He sent this fabulous picture to like 5 us guys on our chat thing.
Mm-hmm.
He showed the before, and Brandy, you're right. He showed the after with the bones, and then he shows another plate with more, and that's where you said, "Man, you didn't eat all that? Yeah, like 3 plates." of stuff."
Well, you know
I
he's
coulda
just a
had-
growing boy, right?
He's definitely a growing boy. I get all that.
I
Man,
could have had the leftovers. I mean, what he
See,
left on that plate would have been enough for me. Jeez, oh, Pete, that was a lot of food.
What's cool for me is I'm glad I have friends in Texas and now my new friends in Missouri. The Missouri boat ride, Missouri. I know, I'm just making fun.
Yeah,
Because
it's all
both
good.
states have fabulous food.
Mhm.
Fabulous.
Well,
In
you know, because
Alabama, and when I went to Alabama, though, they're, I guess, it was okay. We had, it was catered. That's why they had, I'm not going to get into it because I know Miss Bama's here. And I do love the state. It's a very beautiful state, Bama.
Hey,
Mhm.
and wait till you see Anniston area. That's where I went to basic training AIT is Fort McClellan, Alabama, out right in Anniston, Alabama.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, when we get up into Anniston, I'm gonna see if some of those old haunts are still there.
Cool. Well, while we're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
real quick, we're just going to sidetrack and let's talk about this here. There we go. That is the conference that Randy and BMR are talking about. It's June 9th and 10th. And Texas is speaker. It looks like Greg Ogle, Steve Coles, Stacy Brown, Ohio Midnight Stalkers, and Adam Davies. So
And the headliners should be Tex.
They better be nice or I'll cut their mics.
yeah. So anyway, if anybody's in the area around there, I
Are
do
not
believe-
even in the area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do
Come on.
believe tickets are still on sale. So
Well, Randy's gonna be down there. He's gonna be filming it, so it might be shot live on YouTube. YouTube, right,
Who
Randy?
said something about filming? I'm just handling the PA system. What you
Yeah. Oh, hey, PA
gonna-
video. Hey,
I'm just
PA
gonna-
and video goes hand in hand, my friend. You know that.
Hey,
Yeah.
don't knock me and Krista. We're not above. We're not above it. We'll go live.
I know you guys will, but Randy, it's funny though, because me and Randy, for those that don't know, when me and Randy, we went to the Texas. Oh God, the conference, Randy. That was
Oh, God.
us. So
We
me
should
and
have never
Randy,
shown up
we
early.
got there like 8 in the morning. He picks me up at the airport. We traveled like 2.5 hours. We went to Buc-ee's, hung out at Buc-ee's, the biggest gas station in the world.
Yep.
It was Christmas Day for me. I enjoyed it so much. So we got our beverages and we head back to Texas. So we get there. The place wasn't even open. And Randy, I tell you what, man, we sweated from 10 in the morning till noon. We ended up setting up the whole conference. We put out all the tables, all the chairs.
Did we even get a thank you out
That's
of
my
that?
rant for the night. But we worked our butt off.
I don't even think we got a thank you out of that.
No, I didn't even get $5. I didn't even get a free ticket. I had to pay for my ticket for admission.
Oh, and they told me this like, oh yeah, well we'll come back and we'll do some more stuff here in a little. I said, hey Rob, there's a bar
Yeah.
out over here.
Yeah. So me and Randy did go spend some good. Me and Randy put some time in at the bar. We had a good shift at the bar across the street. And then, but what was disappointing though, we all went to the party they had. Remember, Randy? They didn't let us in because we weren't
Yeah,
invited.
we
And
weren't VIP.
me and Randy are like, wait a minute, we set up the whole thing. We're not allowed. and they had the gall to say no. So I've got I must say I have a sour taste in my mouth, Randy.
Yeah. Oh, trust me. I may never go to Jefferson ever again, other than just to go to say hi to
Just to
people
go
I know.
say hi. And plus, it was a cool town. There's no
Oh,
smack
yeah.
against. That town is fabulous. I loved it. I had a great time outside of, people rub me the wrong way, but it is what it is. I move on. I'm laid
Exactly.
back, but
No,
it
he
was
don't hold a
messed up.
grudge at all.
Of course
Never.
not. I just aired it on live YouTube at 2:35 in the morning.
Best place to air out all your
Yeah.
What could be better with all your friends?
That's right. Yep. You're
I
absolutely
know.
right.
I
You're
mean,
absolutely
it's
right.
like, I guess this is where I feel most comfortable to tell my story.
Yeah.
True.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I hear you. There's
Yep.
only 117 people in chat, so a lot of people are listening. We have a record
Is there
tonight.
that many?
No.
Okay. You're killing me, man.
I just want to make her. I want to make Brandy
I was
just a
looking at-
little nervous.
I was looking at the number upside. I was like, dang, he can't read either.
Right.
I'm like, I'm missing something because I don't see that many people in there. But
Yeah. But there
Well,
are.
it really doesn't bother me to tell my story here because, most of the people in the chat right now, I've chatted with them on our
Anyway,
chat and
yeah,
other,
right.
and it seems more intimate, so it's easier for me to tell a story.
Yeah.
I guess I would be more apprehensive if we had, hundreds of people in our chat.
Yeah. Well, there are though. This is not. This I just looked this up. There's over 109 people listening, 37 in chat total.
Cool.
A lot of people listen. No, more people listen than go in chat.
yeah,
That's
and-
on every show though.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, we're streaming on not only Blondes, but we're streaming on your channel as well, Rob, and we are also
Yes,
streaming on
yeah.
Texas Front Porch.
It's
So
a three-way tonight.
it is.
Yeah, we
And
thought we'd
that
take
doesn't
over
sound
YouTube.
right.
Yeah, we're just going to take over YouTube. We don't care.
Yeah.
All of
It is.
YouTube.
It is
Okay.
after hours.
Hey,
It is
hey,
after
hey.
hours.
Rob, when the thought's here, there's a filter between here and here. Okay, you might want to check yours. It's not working.
Yeah. No, it's 1:45 in the morning. It's a three-way conversation with four of us.
You're getting worse. Just hush.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my goodness.
And
Yeah,
this,
where-
ladies and gentlemen, is how we spend our Saturday night, Sunday
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, that's funny. That's too funny.
Oh my goodness.
Get it back to normal now.
Yep. Reel it back
Oh,
Monster
But,
Radio only appears in chat to annoy Rob. Very nice. Anybody has to subscribe to Monster Radio, do yourself a favor. Go check out Ryan Tremblay. Awesome guy. If you want to know about Dogman and other cryptids, Ryan Tremblay is the man to see.
Yep. We have him coming on too in an upcoming show on Blondes.
Awesome.
of course, we
Also
don't know
good.
what month or what day, but
No, 'cause I book out so far. I have a calendar I go by.
Oh
so-
yeah, I mean your calendar just fills up. I mean I'm cluttered. Everything is like green and yellow blondes and booze stuff all over. I'm like, wait a minute, are they on tonight? No, this is in February of 2024.
Well,
I
I
mean, we're
put
book-
everything in there. Everybody knows. So
and yeah, well, we're booked up 3 months in advance right now, and that's not even counting your show that Krista does with
Yeah.
you, Rob,
Yes,
and that
that's
doesn't
right.
count the show that I do with Tex. That's just
Yeah.
Thursdays and Fridays. That's
know,
3
I know.
months. She's
Everybody
a
wants to
she's
be
a
with the
go getter.
blonde.
She's a go getter.
That-
I'm telling you.
She is, but that's the difference between guys and girls. Girls are really you're regimented and you have your schedules. Where dudes are more like fly by the seat of your pants type of thing.
Yeah, wait a second. Time out. I'm gonna tell y'all something. You see this jack of all trades down here, right?
Yeah.
They call me Tech Troll for a reason. And when I say there's a 52-minute mark you got to hit, usually I mean it.
And I make it. Hey, Randy,
Blondes-
I think I make it.
Well, that's because you got Krista helping you.
no,
Trisha, yeah.
he
Oh,
does
yeah,
good.
But sitting there watching Tex on Monday nights and watching Brandy going, hey.
That is why I've got this.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Yes.
because 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, I went in there. It's like, where is it? He didn't take the break till like 59 minutes, and I'm like, oh my
I
gosh.
couldn't
No.
stop him. It's like the hand signals. It's like, look, just.
You know what? I
Then the
gotta
announcer,
tell you.
oh, Randy will figure it out. I'm like, I can't make 6 minutes disappear, guys.
You know what I love best? You know what I love best about Tex and Brandy is when Tex sometimes does the 3-hour show with one break.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
got. And Brandy, I can tell you're sitting there. I do a 5-minute break if we don't have sponsors.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
stretch my legs.
Yeah. I
Well,
plan
it's
on
not
doing
like
it
stretch
here
your
in a few
legs.
minutes.
My eyes
that
are
mute.
floating. My eyes
Hit-
are floating. And I'm
That
kind of
mute
like,
and stop
Tex.
him there and go do your thing.
It's like, ugh. But see, if I don't watch him, next thing you know, by the time I come back, we could be 3 subjects later and I don't know where we're at. So
Yes.
I have to
There's a
stop him in
surprise.
the conversation and begin a conversation because I'll never know where I'm at. And then it'll take me 20 minutes to catch up.
Well, don't worry about it. He usually doesn't know where he's at either. So
Yeah.
He's
and you
going
can
to
tell
get
him I
us.
said that. Oh, I don't care. He's letting the inmates run the asylum now.
I'm just glad that Brandy does the schedule on the show. Mondays, Tuesdays, just text. It would take 40 minutes to get through the whole tirade. And I love Tex. He knows I'm kidding.
Oh yeah.
He
we
knows
all
we
are.
are kidding.
I'm
You
not.
know, it's,
His
we gotta
pauses
roast
actually
him.
make it easy for me to actually find spots to take out.
Yeah.
makes him pausing a little bit shorter.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on Monday, Texas front porch.
He's going to get us.
Oh yeah.
That's
He's
He's
going
gonna
to
go back
get
and
us.
watch this thing, and he's gonna be
7:30. 7:30 Central. Tuesdays is what's dadgummit? What's that show? Oh
He's
yeah,
gonna get us. He's
Bobby
gonna
Van
get us for
Buren.
sure.
Okay, I'm done. I'll take another. I'll run us through our break coming up here in 6.5 minutes. Krista, by the way.
Oh, we're still doing a break, even though it's a makeshift.
Yes.
Oh,
Potty breaks.
Yeah,
Potty
Let's
Potty
go to
breaks.
bed.
You
I'm going
do
to bed.
not skimp
Plus,
on
it's-
potty
it's-
breaks.
it's advertising too, Rando.
I'm going to bed.
Hey, look, you're on here with old women who's had multiple children, and we have bad bladders. It's
Right.
Y'all don't laugh too much or sneeze, okay? I already know all about that stuff.
well, I'm
Pam-
already
and-
crossing my legs right now, so all I gotta
Pammy
make
Sm-
two.
Pammy Smith is laughing. Poor guy, not here to defend himself. Hey, trust me, Pammy. We have a good time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tex will watch this show and just laugh his ass off.
Yeah, we love Tex. We really
Yeah.
do.
He says, "Yeah, we all cut each other up."
You
That's
know,
that's what guys do.
I'm going to take this whole episode here and I'm going to get with Ann and put it out on KPNL too, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be fantastic.
We're really in trouble now.
Yeah.
And I'll listen and then laugh at that too.
Yeah.
Sometimes these late night impromptu shows are more popular than your regular show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Right.
look, we're all prettier than Tex, so
See, Pammy, everybody cuts up. We all cut it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, nobody sees behind the scenes where like Tex is like roasting each one of us for like hours.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
oh yeah.
Like through text, he's roasting one of us.
Hey, we're making a mental note though. We got to turn him away from Reddit. He needs to stay away from Reddit. Okay. All there is to it.
Yeah.
There
I hope
go.
you hear that, Tex. Stay away from Reddit.
Yep.
No red.
Reddit.
Oh
yeah.
Lord! So what are we going to talk about after the break?
Wait, weren't we
I
listening
hope-
to the rest of your stuff though? We never finished yours, did we?
Yeah, we got to finish
Yeah,
up
well,
with Brando.
My story's done. I brought you up
Oh.
to what's happening as of today.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
All right.
When we come back, we can touch briefly on Civil War battlegrounds and ghosts.
Centralia.
Oh
Yeah.
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 Okay, guess what Brandy's alley.
Yeah. I've had some encounters and
Mhm.
Ooh,
Obviously,
cool.
you have 2, Randy. So
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
when we come back,
Gatlinburg.
So,
great.
Yeah, that'd be
so
great.
this is this in Centralia? What you were talking about, Centralia, Missouri?
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we come back, though, because
Okay. Well, we still got a minute or
Or
2
two.
minutes.
I need
Okay.
more than 2 minutes.
Okay,
So,
Well,
Rob.
you
Centralia. There's a battlefield there.
guys
There's
can
stuff
cut
that
it.
happened. Done.
I was like, Rob,
Chris,
take us
you
to break.
what?
Take
Oh, Chris
like
can't
talk.
do it.
I was gonna say talk like text to the break.
Well, I've been. I can't do. I'm not doing text.
Okay, you ready?
He's so
You're
sweet.
talking to somebody who was raised with the man.
Well, Rando.
We need
I've been
make
fixing.
sure
I can't.
we-
I can't wait for Rob to get down here to Texas. I'm gonna
Oh,
fix
yeah.
him a steak that.
Yeah, we're gonna get him some
Dadgummit.
ribs and some good beer.
That Yankee thinks he knows how to cook a steak.
Well, you know what? I mean, the way he talks about it, when I get to Texas, I better eat.
Well,
And
he
I
took
mean,
me.
eat well. He better take me to the
Yeah.
places that got the best food. Because
I
I'm
already
telling
told
you,
Tex. Tex told me about 3 steakhouses and 4 Mexican places in Texas he wants to take me to. So I got 7 on my list already. Randy, you probably know half of them.
Probably every one of them, but
Yeah.
I know that somebody else has come to Texas and going to a town way over here by me, May time frame, I think. And
Yeah.
I've already told them there's a place that you want to go get a burger at, and trust me, I will be there with you.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, I'm definitely coming. Screw the conferences. I'm coming down to eat and drink.
Yeah.
So with that being said,
That's what
With
we
that
do at
being
conferences.
said-
What are you talking about?
yeah, well, that's actually Randy. That is true. But the eating, I want to do some authentic eating, not no catered BS.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
But
right
anyway,
there.
with that being said, we're coming up on 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, and we'll be back at 5.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. 2-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess Rob didn't hear.
No,
Yeah, he must have really had a bad bladder issue.
Well, anyway, welcome back.
I was on a 20.
ladies and
No,
gents.
I was on a 22.5-second delay. Sorry.
But anyway, welcome everybody to After Hours with the Front Porch Guys and Gals.
Oh, that's a good name for this one.
Well, I've got some weirdness going on out here. So Brandy knows where I live, and
Yes.
I have where I live is a big horse ranch, and there are looks like 4 cars down there, and there's horses running free. Looks like a bunch of
Joy.
so.
Good
Let
luck.
them have fun with those things. I ain't touching them.
Well, let me tell you, I don't even keep my horses here because the fencing is so awful, and Brandy can attest. She's seen what it looks like, and I can't believe that people actually pay money to keep their horses here, and they do. And there's a bunch of them running free because of the fence. I'm sure they walked right through it or right over it. Anyway, not the problem.
Is it the 2 ladies or is it the guys?
The one lady is here. I see her car down there, but I don't recognize the other ones.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Maybe a clandestine buy. Wait a second.
Yeah. So anyway, it's crazy. It's
Yeah. Well, Tex couldn't be with us. I'm sure if he was in town that he would have definitely been with us, but he's out of town with the missus. It's her birthday. So they took a weekend together. How dare they?
Oh, geez.
You just need to get a hold of her and give her our condolences.
Hey, Joe Monk. I know I got back 20 seconds late. I did want to thank the beautiful Crystal J for the awesome super chat.
Yep.
And Joe Monk, yes, Biggie does stay up late. Biggie's got another hour or 2 to go.
Yep.
See,
So
I
you're
can't
not
see
Biggie
that.
Small, you're Biggie Big.
Yeah, no, he knows who's from Space Cell Radio. He calls me Biggie.
That works. So let's talk about Centralia.
Yes.
Actually,
I know, Rando.
Before we talk about Centralia.
What?
As I say, before we talk about Centralia, I totally forgot. Like it's after midnight and my mind wasn't right. So, Brandy, tell everybody what to watch this week, real quick.
All right, Monday at 6:30 p.m. Central, you can watch Texas Front Porch with me and Tex. Starting May 1st, we're going to go to 8 p.m. So make sure you adjust your calendar. We will be on at 8 p.m. Central starting May 1st. On Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, we have Van Buren Variety. At 8 p.m., we have BMR himself with Beyond BMR, of course. You can get all those weird stories on Tuesday night with him. On Wednesday, Jason McLean
Weird
questions
stories.
everything at 8 p.m. What did I say something wrong?
No,
I
we're
like
just
that.
doing this
I
thumb
like
thing.
that. No, I love the weird stories.
Yeah.
BMR with the weird stories. Yes.
All right. All right. At 8 p.m. Wednesday, you can catch Jason McLean's Questions Everything. And then on Thursday at 12 p.m. Central, it's Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and our friend over here, Krista, as they talk about anything under the sun. I love that show because I never know when I turn in at my lunchtime, I just never know what I'm going to get, which
Me
is
either.
awesome. I love
Me
that.
either.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
And
I love
before
that.
and before I forget, I have to say something about that show. But continue.
On Thursday. On Thursday at 8 p.m. Central, you can catch Blondes and Booze. And if you can't get enough of Blondes and Booze on Thursday night, we have a little more on Friday night at 8 p.m. Central with Blondes, Booze, and the Woo. At 2 p.m. Central on Saturdays, you can catch Tex and Danielle Diva as they drop a new episode of Infamous Minds. Now, what were you going to say, Rob?
No, first of all, I want to hear Chris on Rando's Civil War ghost stories, but I do have to make mention before the show ends. I have to tell the story. Me and Krista has Science Bob on and Lala Bright on Thursday. Now, I got these comments from people like on YouTube and on my personal like DM or whatever that. And Chris, I thought during the show there were shadows and things flying around in the background. And if you go to the 14-minute and 50-second mark through 15:03, yeah, anybody didn't see the show, if you watch it, you can skip forward to the 14 minutes and 50 seconds of the show, and then right to 15:03, there is actually shadow beings that are walk past Lala Bright.
Wow.
And I only knew this because I always read the comments and try to respond to people. So I'm like, okay. So I looked it up. Now, prior to this, though, Krista, I don't know about you, but during that show, I was seeing. Now, I have to preface this by saying they had AI in the background. They had that was virtual background they had.
Yeah.
So you're always going to get that like Randy's got.
Yeah.
But there was actual things that were not part of that I thought I was seeing. I didn't bring it up during the show because I didn't want to, be, make it bigger than it was. But when I look back and watch, I swear there was something going on. So everybody go check that out. Yeah. It was very weird.
And I'll check it out and see if I can.
Okay. Randy, our tech advisor, he will look at that and see what it was.
I'm going to go back and look at it myself.
Yeah, can you chop it out of there, Randy?
Oh yeah, I can pull it out and we'll get a video clip of it.
Awesome. Because that would be great for you, Rob, to use on a future show. I mean, really.
Oh yeah, no, I mean because I think, and I'm pretty, how I am. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But I tell you what, there was something going on there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool. Anyway, Tex is in chat, so we have to stop talking about him.
Yeah, Tex, you missed the Tex. You have to rewatch this Tex from the beginning.
Yep.
Just know we love you.
I just want to know, why are you in chat when you're supposed to be having fun with your wife?
She probably went to bed. She'd had enough.
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah.
She said it's enough party time. Time to go to bed.
And I have to say hello to the lovely Susie B, my new BBF or BFE, Susie B.
BFE. You know what BFE is?
No, I don't. I just, I'm not up with the kids these days.
How about BFF? BFF.
There you go. That's what I was probably trying to be. Is that what it is?
Bum blank Egypt, okay?
Susie B, don't listen to him. Do not listen to him.
Oh, man.
That's why we love Rando.
Why are you drinking before the damn show?
Randy.
Anywho.
Oh,
right.
my goodness.
Let's talk ghost.
Yes.
Ghosts are
Let's,
cool.
let's
Yeah,
talk the
me too.
Civil War ghosts with Krista and Rando.
Yeah, because we're starting my spooky time, so let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I want to hear about what she had from Centralia first, though.
Okay, so Centralia, it was the Battle of Centralia
Mhm.
during the Civil War, and I used to do reenactments, and so I have the wall tent is
Yeah.
what sleeping in, and we heard like horses running through camp, and this is in the middle of the night.
Out in
Nobody's
that field, right?
camp out in that big field. Yes.
Yeah.
And there was no horses out there running. This was really cool. The reenactment that we did, for those of you who are not familiar with reenactments, we actually reenact the battle. So whoever came out on top, that's who won, blah, 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 blah. So for this particular battle, which was really weird, I mean, Missouri has dragonflies here. And
Tons.
this is so weird though. During the battle that was going on, like the whole field just filled with dragonflies. And then after it was over, they were gone. That was kind of weird.
Just disappeared.
They just disappeared, which was weird. So
Yeah.
down the road from the Battle of Centralia, there is a cemetery called Mount Zion.
Mhm.
And there's a little church there. And a friend of mine took us down there, and he knew we were into ghosting and stuff. And he had permission to go. It was probably half mile down the road because that whole half mile stuff had happened. And what happened is that basically it was a sign up, to come fight in the war. And they were attacked at like 8 o'clock in the morning and caught the whole brigade, everybody off guard. So It was awful. It was an awful deal. And in that battlefield, the people's property, which they had activity going on in their house. However, their field behind their house, we have EVPs of cannons.
Oh, sweet.
And once again, horses.
Yeah.
And up at the cemetery now, that we really didn't get a whole lot of EVPs horse related. It was all more like I won't say like it's uncivil war related type EVPs and activity that we were getting up there. But it was just very interesting. It was a really interesting night, and I really want to go back there. Honestly, I do.
Yeah.
Tell me your story.
Centralia is just an amazing place. I don't care. Yeah, it's one of the lesser known areas, Well, in what we call in the Army, what we called Advanced Non-Commissioned Officer course, which became Senior Leadership course or whatever. I was a chemical soldier, and our schoolhouse was on Fort Leonard Wood. Well, part of that training is we have to study military history, obviously. And Centralia is one of their main focuses when they start doing, shouldn't say reenactments, but you have to study a certain aspect of that battle or a personality of that battle, which I ended up with Bloody Bill Anderson. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great because I'd actually heard of him before, and I was like, I'm going to dig into this guy a little bit. Then we started getting, because for those that don't know, Bloody Bill Anderson led a guerrilla style, shouldn't even call it a militia. They were just a bunch of thugs. If you want to get right down to it,
That even at one time included Jesse James
and Frank. In fact, Centralia, Frank James was part of that raid.
Yep.
And so, we're sitting there going through our stuff, and I'm going through my whole spiel, and we're at that railroad station that's right there, the old railroad station at the tracks and stuff. We're sitting there going through it, and several of us stopped as we're talking. We're like looking around. Did you hear that? It sounded like one of the locomotives coming through there.
Wow.
Going,
That's crazy.
Why would we hear that? I mean, and we're talking about about probably 10 or so sergeants and sergeant first classes and E7s, E6s in the Army sitting there going, okay, we're not used to hearing this kind of stuff right here, especially when you got a track that goes nowhere, so it's just that little bit that's left.
Yeah.
but that building is all still, well, at that time, this was 2008. So,
Mm-hmm.
that building was all still brand new, or
Yeah.
not brand new, but still from that original time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we leave there and we go out to the actual battlefield, which, if you're looking at the battlefield, you got the spot in the center, and we go up, we read all about it and everything at the marker and everything. Then we come back to the wood line that's on the south side.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we set up. We have our lunches and stuff. We're sitting there with our MREs. Yay, MREs. Thanks, Army. And we're sitting
Those
there.
things are nasty.
You be nice. Those are some great eating right there.
If I was starving, yes, they would be.
Anyway, we'll get it. That's a whole nother show we could do on those. But the we're sitting there and we're eating, and as we're eating, once again, same thing you're talking about. We're hearing horses. We're hearing, what sounds like a faint dissonance of a cannon or something, like something going off. And I'm chalking it up originally at the time, just some redneck in the woods shooting his gun somewhere, But I didn't think nothing about it. But then I thought about it later. It's like, wait a second, there's nowhere really around here for a redneck to go out in the woods and shoot a whole lot. There's enough built up around there where they really couldn't do it legally, type thing. So I was like, that could have actually been, because then the only reason I said that because I lived in DC at the time and I'd been to Gettysburg. So I've been to that part and heard that stuff too. I was like, that could have easily have been that same thing. So between that, Manassas and Gettysburg, I mean, you go to any of these Civil Wars, especially if you go at Civil War battlefields, you go at night, you're liable to actually find something happening.
Oh yeah, we always after that. So I was into as everybody says, my freaky stuff. And I was into it then. I just didn't let everybody know, got to at least have some kind of normalcy. And so, I'm kind of freaking out. I'm like, man, I'm freaking hearing horses. I'm walking out of the tent looking. And, so the next day, my friend Trina was there. And I asked her, I said, did you hear the horses go through camp last night? She's like, no, I didn't hear anything, Well, after that, they kind of realized, because you do this long enough, people find out.
Yeah.
And so now whenever we go to any of the battlefields, we do ghost hunting in the evenings because they're active. And the Centralia one, so Centralia it's like out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And
you know where you're looking for to find it. So
yes. And it's almost like a farmer's field. What would you say? Maybe 50 acres?
Oh, max. I wouldn't even say it's that big. The one, I was going to say probably 20.
Yeah, it's not super huge, but it's battlefield.
Yeah, you're right, Tex.
Right, exactly. But if anybody ever gets a chance, to hit a battlefield, and you guys are ghost hunting, I highly recommend them. Man, they are active areas.
Yeah,
and you got to be careful because some of them, they're not as active as you think they would be, because somebody will tell you, oh, we got all this active. I think I talked to Brandy about one up in the DC area one night, and there was this bunch that were building a house, and they were reclaiming the wood from an old Civil War hospital that was there. They were actually using that wood to help build the house from that same area. And we got this activity, we got that activity, we got this activity. And of course, we roll up on the side, start doing the interviews and stuff, and start talking to people. And as you roll up, you look over to the side, and there is a Ford pickup, and the bed is full of beer cans. We're not talking about a little bit. We're talking completely full of empty beer cans. Well, we're just about to chalk this one up to a lost cause right now, because I can't believe anything they're telling us. And we never got anything. We never got anything on that one anyway. So.
Right.
Yeah, Randy, I was going to ask you, and I never asked you or Tex, being that you're from Texas, of course. I was at the Alamo 15 years ago. I mean, the area over there.
Yeah, okay.
But I never asked you guys this before. Have you ever investigated that? I would think that the Alamo's got a lot of...
You're not allowed to.
Oh, okay.
Well, quite frankly, where the Alamo sits right now was not where it originally was.
Yeah, so...
Okay. Isn't it right in the middle of town?
It's right on the corner of Houston and I can't remember what other street that was right there, but it's basically downtown.
Yeah, it's right downtown. There's buildings all around it. There's the River Walk. It's a bustling city area where it's located. I've been down down in there several times.
I mean,
And
it's great history, though. I mean, but it's just
Yeah.
not where it was.
it
Yeah.
has got a wicked history. Not just from the battles and everything fought there. I'm talking about like they had a cemetery and then it got washed out, and next thing you know, they had bodies floating everywhere, and then they had to get them and then relocate them. And oh yeah, no, San Antonio is haunted.
Oh
Haunted.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
There's
you
other
know,
spots there you can go check out. Not just
Ooh.
that.
I gotta say something. And Brandy, of course, you had to bring it up. The river walk. I was in San Antonio, Texas. I was on the river walk and I walked into Dirty Nellie's.
Yes.
And let me tell you something. I was there from noon till noon.
Did you have some time loss?
I certainly did, especially when this is a true story. When I went into the bathroom, I had no idea. I just felt it was just, yes, I was there drinking with friends and stuff like that. But you know what? It was just a very creepy and eerie feeling. And this is prior to me studying on the ghost, studying paranormal, studying cryptids. I just remember every time I had to use this facility, I just felt out of place, like I was being watched.
Yeah.
And I just thought I thought it was creepy. And so I would go back and tell my friends, man, you guys go in the bathroom? You get, isn't it kind of weird? They're like, oh, you're full of it, Rob. You'll have another one. But I personally felt something strange in that place.
Yeah. That's very, very true. My work's headquarters is down there, just a block or two over from the Alamo. So when we go down there in January for the Kling Brothers event, which is in that area, that vicinity, our main headquarters is haunted, and so I want to do a little ghosting.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if they'll let us in.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh yeah, I won't have any issues.
I about to say it because they won't let you into the Alamo. Obviously, the Alamo is, they can still consider, even though it's moved to it, it's considered hallowed ground. They will not. I've had people get into fights with people. Men were going into the church, the main entrance, the chapel or the mission, whatever they wanted to call it, and they wouldn't take their hats off. One guy wouldn't take his hat off.
Yeah.
Sir, you take your hat off, and the state police guy right there said, "You will take your hat off, or you will not come in."
Right. Well, they banned Ozzy Osbourne because didn't he pee on the Alamo?
Yeah, that was in his heyday there, but I think he's apologized a long time ago about it, and I think it's all been blown over. So
Right. Plus the Alamo, how it was made and what it was made of is actually disintegrating.
Yeah.
So they have it now where you can barely touch anything.
Yeah.
In there. I mean, you can walk through, you can see the stuff they have set up in there, but you really can't. They ask you not to touch it.
Yeah.
Because it is disintegrating.
Yep.
So for anybody out there who would like to go see the Alamo, I recommend doing it, as soon as you can.
Yeah.
Because one of these days it just may not be there anymore. It'll come down.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, I'm going to jump back to Bloody Bill Anderson.
Oh, okay.
Randy, you said you made the comment. Ray County Museum. So there is a room at the Ray County Museum that is all about. There's actually a Civil War room, but then there's another one with the guerrillas.
Oh, cool.
And there's a big life size of Bloody Bill Anderson, and the previous curator that used to run the place, Linda, she used to take that with her everywhere she went. And actually, when Linda had her funeral, if I remember correctly, Bloody Bill was there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you'll see.
I'm sorry. Why would you carry that with you where you want?
It was like, well, because it's just such a big. He was prominent in that area. A lot of stuff happened in that area, and so that. And Brandy, you know what room I'm talking about there at the museum?
Yes.
And it's got there's some Jesse James, some Frank James, and all them guys in there too. But yeah, it's pretty.
But without Bloody Bill, you don't have Frank and Jesse James. Quite frankly, you really don't.
There's a lot of them you don't have.
They did
the raid of Lawrence. They burned the town of Lawrence, Kansas down, and there's a lot of bad
and that
stuff.
was all in retaliation for what happened to the kids in that one church.
Yeah, and do you know that town of Lawrence is still butthurt over that?
Oh, they'll live.
Yep. True
They might
story.
need some chapstick.
Yeah.
Well, here it is, 100 and how many years later. I'm like, you ain't got over it yet. You probably need to get over it
Yep.
now because it's long gone.
Right.
But I mean, you study him. There's a movie called Ride with the Devil too.
Mhm.
If you ever get a chance, watch that. It's got Tobey Maguire in it, and it's about Bloody
Write it
Bill
down.
Anderson and his bunch. It's called Ride with the Devil, I believe is what it was called.
Wow. Okay.
It's actually really good.
Yep. I just wrote it down.
Well,
Yeah.
Rob, I mean, you hear us talk all the time about these stories, experiences we've had, and I know that you've had a few of your own,
I
Mhm.
have, yeah.
but now you're seeing them. I want to say outside your home. You're starting to see them elsewhere.
I do.
I'm wondering that if we're getting to you, and it's kind of like we're opening you up to see these things more prominently now because you're looking for them.
Well, I do think that well, that's a good question because, well, you guys know that I saw a ghost of my niece, which wasn't my niece, was an Indian girl. I've told that story. You know about excuse me, when I was a little boy, I saw a ghost, which I didn't think was a ghost when I was 5 or 6. I know that was a ghost. I had the experience in my house with my ex-wife about all of our trinkets being haunted. And then I know about that was then. Then we had consultation, and then I went in the garage and I seen the shadows again. So you guys have all heard that.
Mhm.
And you guys know about my bar with the ghosts.
Mhm.
Right.
And of course the niece, that was a big one. But all these things, like a lot of those all happened prior to even like having my encounter and prior to meeting you guys.
Mhm.
But it seems like after I've met you guys and learned some things, I've learned so much from everybody in the last 2-3 years I've been doing this. So my eyes are really open to a lot of things. I had the experiences watching television and thinking that I was seeing something come down the hallways, thinking that I was having astral projections. And then what I want to talk about with Krista, and nobody really mentioned it. One person mentioned in chat, but I was sitting there on Thursday during the show with Krista, and I personally was interviewing Bob and Lala, and
Mhm.
I was seeing things in the background.
Mhm.
They were more like shadow people.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that on a live stream and
Right.
look like I was making stuff up, but in my mind, I'm like, what is this? So when the show ended, I went, took care of some business. I was gone for a couple hours. Then I came back, and then there was a couple comments on YouTube, and I kind of rewatched some of the chat, and other people noticed those things, right? They saw them
Mhm.
themselves. And when I went back to that 14-minute, 50-second through 15:03, there were shadow people that I saw. So what I did was I sent a message to Lala Bright on, who was on the show. I said,
Mhm.
Lala, check this out. And she says she watched the whole show back herself and she was seeing things throughout the entire show.
Mhm.
And it was funny because when they were talking, Krista, if you remember, about being visited by
Mhm.
whatever aliens or
Right.
ghosts, and we're kind of like listening. Yeah, that's cool. But she was seeing those during the show, and you know what? They showed up on film, so that's why I'm glad that Randy is going to go break that down because, and I'm pretty skeptical about ghosts appearing on a show.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all should be. I think it's prudent to be, have that. And I looked at this, you guys, and I was like, wow. It was kind of reminding me, Krista and Brandy, when you showed that video about in the jailhouse with that apparition in the jail. I don't
Yeah.
know what jail was. Remember that?
Mhm.
And you showed that. I don't know if it was your capture, somebody else's. You had it on one of your shows. It was kind of like that. It was like I look back and it's kind of creepy. If you slow it down, Randy, it looks pretty. There's something there. And again, they had not the AI, but they had the virtual background. So there are shadows from that. You're going to
Yeah.
get that. I can see it on Randy right now. But this was things moving, like in back of the actual AI or whatever you want to call it on the thing. So Brandy, to your point, I'm more open to it because of you guys, of course, and doing this, and I think I'm more aware and sensitive of everything. I think I always had that, but now it's like, like I told you guys a story about my dad directing me to where that little screw was to put in the American flag.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked for 5 hours for it. Then I went in my basement and said, Dad, I was almost crying because it was on my dad's birthday, Memorial Weekend. Dad, if I can't find this screw, I ain't putting up your flag, buddy. I went on the porch that one last time, and guess what I found after I talked to my dad? The little screw, which is less than a millimeter, sitting right there, and I know I scoured that area forever.
Yep.
So yes, because of like talking to you and doing this, I my head's always on a swivel now.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Even if I'm doing a show, you guys see me doing this. I always think I'm seeing stuff.
Well, yeah,
I'm not.
You always see stuff out of the corner of your eyes. You just see something move.
Yeah.
So what we've done, we've assimilated you, and now you're one of us.
Yeah. Well, I see you got rid of the tinfoil hat.
Well, I just went through and I was sitting there. You saw I muted myself on that because I went through and I looked at the time frame you were talking about real quick.
Yeah.
And I'll have to slow it down a little bit and do a little bit more looking. But what I did look at and what I saw was much like what you're seeing with me, with the way things are changing.
Yeah.
There was one spot maybe, but I'd have to sit there and actually slow it down and look to see because it really, the way she moves, much like I'm doing right here, the way she moves, her outline is not meshed enough to where it's not giving you that effect. So
and Randy, what I saw, much like you said, it wasn't very long. It was like a split second, but it seemed like it was out of the frame.
Yeah.
But what really intrigued me was when I got a comment. Someone wrote a comment on YouTube and said, "Hey, check this out, Rob." And it was more than one person. And I remember Krista in chat, Gene Hudson in chat said, "Hey, Rob, do you see the shadows in this?"
Yeah.
So
and Lily Pond just commented too. She said, "I did see something on Layla's left side. I thought it was just
I saw her comment and I looked for that too. And it's like I said, I got to slow it down and look a little bit closer because it's really close to being that effect you're seeing with me right now. But it could be something else.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, Randy, and I'm gonna tell you what, that's what I think it is 100%. But you know what? But then
it can't hurt to look. You
gotta investigate it, right?
Yeah. You gotta debunk it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yes,
that's what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
Debunk it. Absolutely. I mean, because we talk about that all the time. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, Brandon, but for you, because of you two and even having my Bigfoot encounter and stuff, it's like I'm pretty sensitive to a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you've always had it. I just think now that since all of this has happened and you're just now more aware of what's going on, because I think you may have, before kind of bypassed it, just kind of thought, that's nothing. But now it seems like to me that you're paying more attention, even since the first time I've even talked to you. It seems like now you're just more aware of your surroundings and that you're seeing more, which I think is absolutely great.
When it's funny, thanks. But it's funny too, because even like when I had that, when I was married, remember the story about the trinkets being haunted?
Mm-hmm.
And they were, and I saw shadows, and then my wife saw shadows. Then we moved this stuff out of the house, and it all went away. Then I went in the garage and saw shadows again.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like in my late 20s, early 30s by the time I seen all this.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I did though, because I wasn't like into it, invested in it like today. So what I did was blew it off, and I never thought about it again until doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
my thing is, I definitely believe like all of this is connected. However, and I been telling people, just because you're into Bigfoot, you need to maybe research a little bit about the paranormal. You need to research a little bit of UFOs. And that's what I've been doing, because I've never been like, as everybody knows, UFOs scare me, aliens scare me. So I haven't done a whole lot, but however, now I am, just because I do believe they are connected, and I feel like I need to be educated on all of it.
Well, actually, Krista, too, if you remember during the show, because I remember this on Thursday, Brunch with Bigfoot, Mr. Rob, 1 o'clock in the East. You had said to Lala and Bob that you were always scared of aliens, thought they were, I don't know if you said they were demons, but you said at least that you were scared.
I was scared of
But
them.
after the show we did, you had said later that after talking with them, you were a little more, it kind of let a little,
Yeah.
your
Like maybe
reluctance or your fear was kind of
right.
lessened a little bit or something.
Yeah. Because I mean, she's, as she stated, that's, that she's comfortable with them, and like my fear, I guess, is just the fear of, being taken, nobody's going to force me to do anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's in my head, and I don't want to be poked and prodded or none of that stuff. That's my fear.
But,
so if I see a little alien, a little gray outside here or something, I might be okay with that, but not, I don't want to go to them.
Yeah. And see, for me, when you talk about like scary stuff or like, I don't want to say demon. I don't want people to think I'm like watch demon stuff, but I was into watching those demon type movies at night, the devil.
Yep.
And every time I would watch those, I would have nightmares. And then when I talked to you guys, I got more scared of it, because it's almost like you can manifest this stuff even through a TV. But I do remember you guys. It's not like just having a dream like a little kid. If I would watch these programs, I would literally have vivid dreams, like I was like seeing something horrible. So I have not watched a movie like that for like 2 years. And the thing is, I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest, because I like those types of movies. And I guess of course we're all weirdos, right? So yeah, it's weird to say that I just can't do it anymore, because I'm scared. You know why I'm scared? Because back then I thought it was fake. Today I know it's real.
Right.
So that's why I'm scared.
Yeah. I understand that wholeheartedly. And just, I don't know, the UFO thing, and maybe that's my thing too. I've never really thought they were fake, but I never really put much thought into a UFO or an alien. And now, honestly, Terry Mosby, she's our good friend, and she does the CE5. And I want to conquer my fear. I want to do that with her.
So what do you guys, let me ask you two, and Randy probably knows too. When you watch a program and they're doing, because I was going to watch something on Netflix last night, then I started reading the description, and in the description it said hauntings, enchantings, and communications with the dead. And I'm like, well, I started watching. I said, well, I clicked it on anyway. But during the show, they started doing these chants, unfamiliar language on TV. And I remember Jessica Jones told me you should turn that off because you don't know what they're saying.
Right.
And see, I still have a hard time believing that can be broadcast through a television. Okay. I'll tell you that right straight up. But I was told that's incarnating or incanting or whatever the terminology is for that. So if it's in your ears, if you can hear it, it's just as well as you're there. So I shut it off because I started getting freaked out.
Yeah. Yeah. And when people do, like, they catch EVPs and they tell you, if you listen, if you go, do a case and you come back home and you put it on your computer and you're listening for something, that's essentially, I've heard people say, you're inviting them in because you're sitting there listening to them. Yep. I've never had that problem, knock on wood. However, I've heard of things that has happened to people.
Thanks, Lovey. Incantations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I don't know. I think anything could be manifested.
But
And
see, I feel ridiculous that I don't watch
That's
these
it.
movies as an adult.
yeah,
Why
Yeah.
should I be
Well,
scared of some stupid movie?
yeah, it's kind of like what Chris has said. It's all an intent. If you do not have that intent and it's something's playing on the radio or whatever, but you do not have that vibration set to that level in your surroundings, in your home, that's going to mean nothing. That's
Okay.
how I feel.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Now that, that's what's worked for me. And again, that's my intent.
right.
If it's not coming from me, I don't have that vibration. I'm not putting out that energy.
Right.
That's not happening in my home,
Yeah.
no matter what is said.
Right. No, I agree.
So it's
I
just
mean, I
like if I was
agree.
doing a cleansing of my home over like we're doing right now over YouTube and Krista's on, it's not going to cleanse her home because the intent is not for her home, it's for my home.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So I mean,
I
but
agree.
again,
Yeah,
that's how I
that
feel.
makes sense. Makes
Yep.
sense to me. Yeah.
Yep, I would agree.
Mhm.
There's just all kinds of weird stuff, that goes on, and I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know. My eyes have really opened to a lot of things.
Well, see, and I don't. I'm like you're talking about, Rob, with the movies and stuff. I personally don't believe that the movie is going to do it either.
Okay.
I believe you have to physically be, there doing it. That's why you will never see me with a Ouija board. You will never see me with any kind of spirit board at all. Or when they try to do their little seances and stuff, people do
Right.
that stuff. I'm like, are you freaking high because you don't know what you're calling in?
Yeah.
You're opening a door that you don't know what's about to walk through.
Yeah.
Why you make that attempt? So
Yeah.
Randy, it's
you don't
kind of
gotta
like.
close
No, yeah, I agree with you too, Randy. I mean, I'll be a little more open to the movies, I guess. But it's kind of like these yahoos. They'll take these vocalizations, they'll record them off of YouTube or wherever they get them from,
Yeah.
and they'll go out in the woods and they'll blast them on a
Mhm.
speaker
Hmm.
with this mumbo jumbo, non-English speak.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're broadcasting into the
Right.
woods.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Even Ron Moorhead said the same thing. He's like, I wish people wouldn't
Yeah.
use his speak stuff that he got. He's like, I wish they wouldn't use it to blast calls and stuff
Yeah.
because we don't know what they're saying when he picked it up.
Right. Here's the thing, you could be, challenging them to something, or who knows, you could be
Calling
sexually
a female, who knows? I
propositioning
mean,
them, neither's a good scenario.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
right.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's have an 8-foot tall beast come at you with a little bit of intent and see what happens.
Right. Yeah, I would not do that myself.
No,
No, I
just let
think
them come up.
I think that's kind of common sense on that one.
And
Yeah.
Or
me
But
and
there
Tex
are
kind of
people
see the
who
same
do
way
do
though.
that.
We
What
go
do
into
you-
the woods. We wait
Yeah.
for them to come to us. We just sit up and do like we normally do, and we
Right.
wait. Hope they get interested enough to come see us.
Yeah, that's how Brandy and I did it with, the people that we go with. That's how we did it. We just let them come to us. We weren't doing no tree knocking, no hollering, no nothing.
And same thing with
Yeah,
ghost
no.
hunting and stuff. You know that.
Yeah.
You just sit there, you wait and hope. How many hours of nothing have you caught versus what evidence you have caught?
Right.
So
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm telling you, I've sat in many a dark room and nothing's happened.
exactly. And you sit
Oh,
there
yeah.
almost fall
I've
asleep
had-
on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And then it could be broad daylight, noon, and it's crazy activity.
Yeah.
You just
Oh
never
yeah.
know. Mhm.
Just never can tell. I mean, we had another one like we were talking about with the Civil War. There's a place called Oatlands Plantations outside of DC going toward Manassas. And we did an investigation there, and it's all set up kind of, like a nice little historical area / museum type stuff. And there was a lot of reports of activity on that. We literally caught nothing over a whole night, 2 nights that we did there. We caught
Mhm.
nothing. They said,
Yeah.
well, what about these orbs? That's dust. So you could tell when you catch it, it's
Yeah.
dust. I mean,
Yes.
so
Speaking of that, I think I got pictures of what we believe dust and true orbs are. So
you got compare and contrast test?
I do.
Yep.
Cool.
I do. So this here, I'm going to put this picture up. I believe this is a true orb. Number one, it's solid, and it has a tail. A lot of the true orbs have a tail.
How much is that zoomed in though?
It's zoomed in.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
that's what I'm saying. How much is it zoomed in? Because what's the whole? What I'm trying to gather is like the entire picture. How big is the orb? That you caught there.
Yeah, I don't have the whole picture.
Oh, okay,
I don't have the whole picture.
So
This
that's your
here,
curtain? Was that a
that
curtain?
right there, I believe is dust.
See, and now I'm a little bit differing on you a little bit, and I'm not an orb guy at all.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look up in that one in the upper left or the upper corner of the,
Mm-hmm.
it's got its own little luminescence there.
Yeah, I
And
see
same
that.
thing, and your same thing with your transparency on the one below it. Down on the sill itself.
Yep.
I would say that those are more likely more of an orb than a dust too, because a dust is going to leave a tail, is what I'm saying. Because if you capture a picture of a dust, it's moving. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you capture the picture with IR, it's going to have a tail.
Yeah. But see here, I have this. This is pictures of dust in motion.
Oh yeah, that's definitely dust. There's no doubt about that.
That is dust in motion. And then I also have this. These are bugs in motion.
I'm helping a lady right now down in Houston. She's catching a lot of stuff that she was getting scratched at one point. So me and her were going back and forth with stuff where she would pick up. I got her on some kangaroos, cameras and stuff to set up so she could start tape. And you see the lower 1, 2, 3 from the right, one up. You see that? It looks like almost like what we call a skeeter hawk down here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of them out this year for whatever reason. And she sent me a picture. Do you know what this bug is? And I said, yeah, it looks like a skeeter hawk. But the way it was caught by the camera, it literally looked like an angel.
Yeah.
It did.
God, and
you're like, but there's no doubt it's a skeeter hawk because of where she caught it, how she caught it, and everything. I said, what happened? That instant of that frame caught right as the tail made the thing, and it looked like an angel.
Yeah. Well, we've had pictures, back on the bugs here. You see some of these, and we've had pictures sent to us, and people are saying that they're fairies. And I do believe in
where they
fairies.
can see that.
I believe they're out there. However, a lot of the pictures that have been sent to us as fairies, I personally believe that they are bugs in motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're talking about when you get it on film, Krista?
Yeah.
Okay, about 3 years ago, and again, this is when I certainly did not believe in fairies or anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
I believed in Bigfoot because it was 3 years ago, so I knew that existed. I'm in my buddy's backyard who don't live too far from me, and we live not too far from a place that's called Dead Man's Creek.
Yeah.
Then it's turned into Dead Man's Bridge. Long story. It's another haunted story that I don't want to get into that right now, but we're sitting in his backyard. And now where I live, we have an overabundance of fireflies, and we all know what those are. We would catch them. In fact, we have so many that if it's a breezy night, if you light a candle, you don't want to put on a flashlight because it attracts the bugs. So, and candles would blow out. So we would capture all these fireflies and put them in jars and would light up the table we're sitting at. Then we punch holes so you could breathe. Then we let them go. So one night there was it was one of the pictures you showed on that slide. There was the size of a firefly flying around, but you know what, you guys, they were glowing in a fluorescent, like very light pink and white or yellow. And they looked like a firefly, but they had that pinkish and white color about them. And I go to my buddy Brian, I go, what the hell is that? He goes, I don't know. That's kind of weird. So we're trying to capture them, and they were boom, boom, boom. Firefly, you go like this.
Yeah.
And capture, they're slow. But these things darted, and we couldn't catch them. And we were like thinking to ourselves, what is that? I mean, they're like crazy. And they went away. So the next night, and I think we went to this field by the Dead Man's Bridge, but we went to the actual area, checking stuff out. And I think I told you this story. It was right the sun was getting ready to set, and we're looking into this meadow right in back of the tree line, and we see this stick pop up. But no big deal. The stick popped up, big deal. And it's, oh, well, whatever. And it was probably 18 inches high. So we're looking at this. It was kind of unusual. It was like 30 feet in front of us. So we continue bullshitting, doing whatever we're doing. We're getting ready to pack it in and go home. But the stick now got up taller, and it had legs and started walking, and it looked like an arm swinging back and forth. And we started running after it, and it sped up and it went right down into the creek, and it went into the creek, and when it hit the water, it turned back into a regular stick and floated right down the stream.
Oh, wow.
So I told that story to whoever was on the show, and they said it was like an elemental or something like that,
Mhm.
which are like beings of the forest.
Right.
You know, like a fairy's an elemental, forest creatures are elementals. So it's because I believe today that trees are life. They are life, but I think that they have an access to portals. I think that they camouflage for Sasquatch a lot of times. And this little stick figure, I'm thinking, was an elemental. So it was very interesting. It was very.
Yeah.
It wasn't creepy, but to see a stick start walking, and my buddy saw, he's like, "What the hell was that?" I'm like,
Bless you.
Thank you.
No.
I
Bless
did
you,
mute
yeah.
myself.
But it was just crazy. It was so funny, you guys, because you could see the little arms going like this, like he was like running,
Yeah.
and the sticks,
Wow.
and they were very thin. The arms were as thin as a bobby clip a girl would use, and the legs were like that. But the stick was probably 1.5 inches wide, and it got up, got taller, and ran, and boom, jumped in, it ran into the creek, and turned into just a stick, and just floated.
Or so you think.
Yeah, or so I think. Yeah, well, good.
It could have
that's
still been.
good.
It could have still been there and just went
Yeah, you know,
completely.
good point, Randy.
Yeah. Unless you picked it up and looked at it or something. But
No, I think you're close. We tried to catch after it. We were running it down, thinking it was some big bug. I was thinking it was like I think it was like a praying mantis that was just deformed or something. But it was pretty big, though.
But like I said, if it went into a creek, though, you didn't get it out of that creek either.
So. No, it just
it
no,
floated away.
not.
So you couldn't verify one way or the other. Then
no, not at all. No.
Wow.
So I got a question. Have you ever seen a stick bug?
Oh yeah, walking stick.
Was it like that, but just bigger?
It was like that, but bigger. Like I say, Brandy, it was probably when this thing pops up, it goes like this, boom. Just a stick, but it's kind of was weird. It just popped out of the ground, and it was a stick. And it was, like I say, over a foot tall, close to 16 inches, if I'm guessing.
Wow.
But it was round, about an inch in circumference. But I thought nothing of it.
That's not a stick bug.
There's so many.
No,
well, I know what a stick bug is.
Yeah.
But then it got up taller, and there was little spindly legs and arms, and it started running. So me and my friends seen this. We seen it, and we start chasing after it. But all of a sudden, it gets right to the river, the edge of the creek. It goes down the hill into the water, hits the water, and we see this with our eyes. We see it walk in there, hits the water, and then all of a sudden, it reverted back just like a stick that any of us would see, and just floated down the stream.
Yeah, I was trying to get a visual on what you were saying, and I'm like, well, a stick bug is the only thing that I can think of that would, you know. But we all know
about the stick, the green stick bug or the light tan stick bug.
Yeah, where it looks like a little stick.
Yeah, but this thing was not. It was bigger than that. It looked like they had like 10 times the size.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I was trying to get a visual on what you were telling me, and that was the only thing that I could come up with, that it would kind of look like that, but the size difference. So I take the stick bug and then make it a lot larger, and I would say it was an elemental.
Yeah, that's why I think so too.
Yeah, and it's seen you all coming, and
I mean, we ran after it because we're like, you know, oh my god, we want to catch it.
Yeah.
And we weren't scared. We just, oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah.
running after it. But man, it was so fast. I mean,
You
it like
understand it.
it booked and
Yeah.
right into
Yeah.
the creek.
Lily Pond said she's heard other people say they saw those stick beings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
So
I don't know, that's interesting. I mean,
yeah, and
I
that's
mean,
right by my house.
elementals, there's no telling what they're going to show up looking like.
Mm-mm.
There is no set things
Nope.
like what
Well-
an elemental is going
Well,
to
like,
show up
and-
as.
and the thing is that we were always attracted to this place because as kids, me and my buddy Brian would always go to this place to skip school, smoke cigarettes, drink beer,
Mhm.
stuff like that. And we were also infatuated. It was Dead Man's Creek, then Dead Man's Bridge, because when we were in high school at the time, but in like the 1960s, prior to he and I being born, there was a story of, and this is a winding curve. It goes right. It's not far from my house. You can walk to it from my house. There's a winding curve that leads to the creek. And these teenagers were driving in a Mustang like 60 miles an hour. And when the curve hit, they couldn't handle the turn and they veered off and the car took off towards the creek and there's a bridge and there was a convertible. And as the car dispensed into the creek, both their heads hit the top of the bridge and they were both decapitated.
Yeah.
The boy and the girl.
That's awful. Oh man.
Yeah. So they called it Dead Man's Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So rumor has it that you can see the ghost of not the boy, but the girl floating around with headless girl floating in this ambient color, like yellows and light blues and whites, floats around this creek. So me and my friend always would go back and try to find the ghost. And again, this is prior to me getting into what I do today. We were interested. So I've always been interested.
Right.
And so we've been doing this for years, you guys, into our late teens, early 20s, late 20s. Then finally, we seen a ghost of this girl on this trail by the creek coming after us. At first, it came down with a girl in a gown with a head. It looked like a pretty person that we could tell. So we thought that somebody had a video camera. You know how they can take their projections and they can make like, they can project things in the air from a projector.
Yeah.
So we thought it was that. And we're watching this, but we're looking around. We're standing there laughing. And then it keeps floating down at us. And this is like 50 yards, 40 yards, 30 yards. And then this figure, the head kind of dissipates. It gets high off the ground. Now it's soaring at us. We both thought we heard something, which could have been of our imagination. But we just turned around and just started. We were scared. I was literally scared. We turned around, started running. I ran to my house. It took me like less than 5 minutes to get home. And we both get home. And I remember the next morning calling him. And I said, man, draw a picture of what you saw. Don't tell me what you saw verbally. I'm drawing a picture of what I think I saw. And he did too. So we met up later on in the afternoon. Our pictures are almost identical. And then I said, hey man, did you hear like crazy, like shrilly, girly sounds, like screaming? He goes, yeah, man, I did too. But I thought that I thought it was my imagination, but he heard the same stuff. So yeah, I think even back then we saw that because that was a legend that people in my neighborhood always seemed to see. And I said, me and my friend looked for it for like 15 years before we finally gave up and said, that's BS. And of course, when we no longer believe or looking for it is when it popped up.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
Oh, man.
And I can't tell you that's what it was, you guys, but that's what I saw. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Right.
You actually have seen and dealt with a lot
Mm.
around the
Yeah.
weirdness. You really
Yeah,
have, Bob.
I never, yeah, I guess so, but I never thought much of it, you
Yeah.
guys. To
Yeah.
me, I figured that's part of adolescence. I figured everyone sees this stuff. I just started telling these stories till I joined this and started being a podcaster.
Yeah.
Right.
Or until after I saw Bigfoot, to be honest with you, back in
Right.
2018.
Right.
Randy,
Wow.
Yeah.
have you ever seen an elemental?
No, I've never seen an elemental. I mean, I could probably point to some stuff that it may have been, but not to the level of what he's talking right there. No.
Mhm.
Best I can tell you on just what he's talking about just now coming to actually understand what he's actually seen. I mean, I don't know if he grew up on it, but like I was always open to it always from the get go because I grew up on the old In Search of. You watch
Yeah.
that
Mm.
kind of stuff that was always syndicated on stuff that you never, back when we had
Yep.
3 channels versus, 500, so
Mhm.
Right.
it, that's the stuff you learn to do. And of course, we were out in the woods all the time. We were outside all the time, so people saw this stuff more often, but didn't really chalk it up
Mhm.
to what it might have actually been. Just kind of blew it off, kept on going,
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
how many times back then did you think maybe a Sasquatch would be sitting out there watching somebody camping in the woods?
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
there's that old story about the Boy Scout troop that had the one visit them in California,
Yeah.
and there's stories of that all over the place. But that was before technology. Nobody could
Yeah.
take pictures.
Yeah.
Nobody could do
Right.
anything.
And you know what, Randy, what you just said, I've said this. I used to say this when I first started doing interviews a long time ago.
Mhm.
I always refer to Leonard Nimoy in
Yeah.
search of
Yep.
with Sasquatch.
Mhm.
And
The
I
very
seen
first
that as
one.
a little boy. I seen that, and you know what? First thing I did next day at school, I went to the library and looked up Bigfoot books, and
Yeah.
of course, I didn't find any.
No, there
Or if I
wasn't
found
anything.
something, it was dumb. It was just a
Right.
cartoon,
Yeah.
So when I was a young kid, I thought Bigfoot existed. I
Mhm.
Well, I
believed
did
that it
too.
possibly believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it. I never discounted that it was
No, I
fiction.
mean, because even back then, looking at the original cuts of the Patterson Gimlin film, that they showed on everything,
Yeah,
every documentary known to man at that time had that on it,
Mhm.
but they could not get into it to the level that they get into it now, where you can see all this stuff that you couldn't see before. We just took it as somebody, oh, well, that's just a man in a suit.
yeah.
Well,
Right.
even back then, you could look at it and say, well, they did an awful good suit to make them put boobs on
Yeah.
it. I mean, that doesn't make a whole
Yeah.
lot of sense,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I believe in aliens and UFOs. And you guys
Mhm. Me
heard
too.
the story. I was 7 or 8 years old. Me and my brother were in our bunk beds. My mom always made us breakfast for school. My dad went off to work. He was at work. And my mom, it was like I remember it was like she always woke us up at 7:30 in the morning. I remember my mom was Robbie, Davy, get up, get up. And I look and I know that it's a half hour too early. I go,
Mhm.
Mom, we got
Right.
another half hour. Get your ass out of bed. Come here right now. Come to the kitchen. So me and my brother are like, okay. She goes, look at this. What do you think? She says, what do you guys look? You guys, in the backyard, there was a UFO. It was like 90 feet hovering in our backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Huge. It looked like the UFO from Lost in Space. And again, I'm thinking as a kid, because I
Yeah.
love Lost in Space.
Mhm.
I'm
Yep.
thinking, am I dreaming? What's my mom showing me? It was
Yeah.
shaped like that. So, and then all of a sudden, boom, it just went up in the sky and it was gone.
Yeah.
So my mom's, you guys, we saw a flying saucer, UFO, whatever. And me and my brother, like, yeah, maybe we did, Ma. So we were off to school. My mom calls my dad, and of course, back then, you're not supposed to call your father or your husband
Oh
in
no!
the factory at work. That's a,
Don't
you
talk to
don't
them at
do
work.
that.
Mm-mm.
There's no cell phones. It was a rotary
Right.
dial. So my mom, I can hear telling my dad, Bob, you can't believe what I seen. I saw a flying saucer. What are you doing? Call me at work for that for? I get in trouble for this shit. He hung up on her,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. So I get home from school. My dad gets home. My dad's bitching at my mom about why you don't do that to me again, blah, 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 blah. So the news comes on. The headline on the news was flying saucers spotted in Dearborn Heights. That was called in by like 50 people, and the
Wow.
story. My mom and my brother and me, we weren't the only ones that saw it. They called it into the news, and the news, that was their number one story in my area, because like 50 people called it in to the news station.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that was, what was that, you guys?
It
It
helped
was
you.
not an
It helped your
airplane.
dad for believe
Yeah.
it, didn't it?
Yeah. That's crazy. So did your dad take back his words?
Yeah, my dad's cool, but back then, how corrupt they are back in the
Right. Oh yeah.
how it
Oh, but
rolled,
it
that.
didn't matter unless there was a nuclear bomb. You
Yeah,
didn't call
no,
dad at
you
work.
don't call the
Right.
factory, because you get fired. Your
Yeah.
wife calls you on the floor, off the floor, when you're working
It
on the
better be
line.
an emergency.
It better be your kids are dying, or the house blew up.
Right. Oh yeah. Totally understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
I live
today,
that
all
life.
you do is reach in your pocket. Hello.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or, yeah.
Wow. That's really good. That's really crazy. So you've like experienced everything because
I guess I have. The more I talk,
you
to
have
this, I guess
missing
I
time
have.
add in there too because you've experienced that.
Yeah, the boat
This has
thing.
turned into
Yeah.
a therapy session.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I did the boat thing. I told Brandy the boat thing, and she was like floored. Just she and I were just talking offline. Oh my God, Rob, you gotta tell that story. Well, I told that
I
story.
know. I heard it and I was like, no way.
Right? It's a great
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So when he
So
was
crazy.
retelling it, I didn't even have to jump in chat because I'd already asked all my questions.
Yeah.
It was fun because I got the one-on-one storytelling experience, and he told me of the encounter and what happened and the experience, and I was like,
Yeah. And
I got to
again,
ask
that's
all my
another.
questions.
And again, Brandy, Krista, Randy, everyone listening, I thought nothing of that either. It's just a big deal. I lost 10 hours on a 3-hour trip. If you want to sum it up, my trip was supposed to be 3 hours. I got home at 10 and had no idea why it took so long.
Yeah.
We saw the sun rising. We left at midnight and we got home at 3 o'clock the next day when we left at midnight on a 3-hour trip.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And
Okay.
you
I'll
just don't
tell you
think
the whole
anything
story.
about
Randy,
that.
I'll tell you that whole story.
So we need to check Cartman for an anal probe, right?
Well, yeah, supposedly.
It's
Hey,
possible.
you may have a nice big old satellite dish come out your butt later on, and then
Well, you know what they say, Randy. Anytime you experience time loss, it's alien. That's what they say. That's what they say.
Yeah.
well, and we
Yeah.
can't say that because now we obviously also see that Tex has his time loss thing, but we don't know what caused that.
Yeah.
We kind of got an idea between him and Jessica, what.
Yeah,
what came
they got
along,
that thing going on, but
Yeah. Wow. You've experienced a lot, that's for sure.
I guess I have.
Like Randy said, this is a BMR therapy session tonight.
Exactly. You getting all this stuff off your chest.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
I started with mine.
I figure these people be bored. I've told all this before.
But it's like I started with my story.
Yes,
Yeah.
That was your story. Yeah.
Yeah, I told my story. I got mine off my chest. Now, Rob, you're getting yours off yours. Anyone else, Krista, Randy, you want to go with yours? We're here. Testimonial time.
Yeah. But the best story I ever had, though, you guys, is the bar.
Hallelujah. Oh, sorry. Wait.
Yeah, the bar story.
Randy, you love the missing time. I do, but the bar story was the one that really was crazy.
I don't think you told me about the bar story, though.
Oh, God. Well, you know what?
Can we take a 5-minute break? I really have to go.
You guys want to hear? I have to take a break. Because this story is about 7.
Let's do another 5-minute break.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
We still have 50 people in chat. So.
Oh, what's the matter with all the older women?
Everybody go to the bathroom. Get your drink.
I gotta let out the dog. You know what the key? Krista knows when I say let out the dog.
Yep, I gotta let the dog out too.
Not getting involved.
All right, guys, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Oh, no.
4 minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. Two-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hey.
Hey, we all made it back in time.
Yeah, I had to
Yeah.
move because my computer was about ready to die. So now I got to sit here in my kitchen with the laptop on my counter.
Oh yeah, you did move, didn't you,
I did.
Kristen?
I had to. I was my computer dimmed. I'm like, oops.
Oops.
So,
Well, should have had it plugged in right to the
well, I
charger.
did. I charged it fully, and it only stays charged for like right at 2 hours, a little over 2
Yeah,
hours.
when you're streaming, that'll eat up your battery for sure.
It does.
Yeah.
So, and I don't.
Well,
have any
thanks. I have to say thanks to Randy. I have a dedicated line. He set me up with a cool computer. I used to use the laptop, and trust me, I couldn't have gone this long with the laptop.
Yeah.
Now Randy hooked me up. I never believed in buying the refurbished computer.
Mhm.
But Randy said, "Look, dude, $250, you could get a kick butt system. And I'm skeptical, but I trusted Rando. And I tell you what, Randy, the best investment I ever made for $250.
Yeah, I mean that's typical with any laptops because laptops, especially when you're streaming and gaming and stuff, unless you get those real high end ones, which nobody really gives a crap
Mine's
about.
not.
Yeah. Why spend the 25? I was looking at stuff,
Yeah.
Randy, it was $2,000
Oh
to
yeah,
do
but
to
I'm just
do.
talking about laptops in general with the shared
Yeah.
video memory that they use. You're asking for problems if you get into high def streaming and stuff because it's using memory to run the video processor. If you've got a standalone, a separate card and a separate mic and a separate everything else, you're freeing up all that memory in the computer itself to do its job.
Yeah, that makes
No.
sense. Maybe I need to invest in a refurbished one as well.
Well,
Telling
you know
you
what,
can buy 'em
Brandy?
on Amazon cheap.
Brandy, yeah, you were Randy because I was before I met Randy, I would never buy a refurbished anything,
Yeah.
especially a computer. You would think, but
Mhm.
what I have here, I mean, yeah, the tower is old, but like Randy says, the guts are all brand new. It's
Yeah.
brand new,
Right.
and that's all you
Relatively,
need.
yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
matters. That's what counts.
Yeah.
That's all that
Or
matters. Who
soup it
cares
up
what it
as
looks like?
soup it up as good as you can, you know. I mean, because you can get a decent one, you know, for like I said, 150, $200 on Amazon. You buy you some extra RAM to throw in it. Make sure your processor's relatively okay. You may not be able to run Windows 11 or crap like that. Some of them you can, some of them you can't.
Yeah, I'm rolling 10 right now.
Yeah, and I'm still on 10 too. But this thing's got an old i5. This computer I'm on right now was actually made in like 2012. But I've souped it up. I upgraded the chip in it. I upgraded the RAM to 32 megs of RAM, and I put an add-on video card. That right there, I can do anything I need to do out on this stuff right now.
And
Any
I'm not
video editing, all that stuff.
and I'm not a tech geek because I was going to call you last week, Randy, and it's like I got that 1 terabyte, I guess it is, Randy.
Yeah.
And when I looked into my system, that hasn't even been touched yet. I haven't even broken into that, and I still got half of the original memory still going.
Yeah. Well, that's your hard drive. That's different from your actual RAM. So
Okay, well,
So,
yeah,
big difference.
well, yeah, we'll go over that.
See,
But
I have a desktop, and I bought it. Oh my gosh, I bought it back in like 2016, but it's
Okay.
so slow. I can't use it, so it sits there.
It depends on what's in it before I can tell you what you can do with it. I have to see what was in it. So
Yeah, I'll get with you off camera because
okay. Yeah, no
maybe I
worries.
can get that one fixed up and then continue to use my laptop for work, which they
Yeah,
know
there you
I
go.
use it for the first shows too. So, but it's all cool. You know, I've been seeing people talk about sleepwalking in chat.
Yeah.
That's an interesting topic all in itself.
Oh yeah, you can do a whole show on that by itself.
Yeah. Have you guys do you guys sleepwalk or known of sleepwalking?
I've known some people that do. Yeah.
Mhm.
I
I've
don't
watched
think
Secondhand Lines.
I was gonna
Does
say,
that
I
count?
bet Rob does.
well, I don't think I've sleptwalked, but it's funny. My brother got an honorable discharge from the Navy because he was sleepwalking on a aircraft carrier when they were in the Indian Ocean.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah,
It's the wrong place, the wrong time.
he was lucky that he didn't get whisked off the craft
Yeah.
or the boat, I should say.
Wow.
Craft.
That's amazing. Yeah, I got an interesting story about sleepwalking. It wasn't me. It was actually my husband. And this has been probably 15 years ago. We were camping and I had it was a big family reunion that was there. And we had a big camper and a fifth wheel. Went to bed. And like 15 minutes later, he got up, stood straight up, and he said, I got to make sure the windows are shut on the truck. I didn't think anything about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I was laying there, and it's probably like 20 minutes later, and he never came back in. So I get up, and I'm looking for him. Couldn't find him anywhere. Literally nowhere. So my cousin kind of heard me out, looking for him, and she was sleeping outside in the tent, and got up, and we're walking all over looking for him. Never could find him. I caught up with him, and he's walking barefoot, and this was gravel, and he doesn't do that. And he kept saying, I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I did not put two and two together because I didn't know what was going on with him. Well, my brother and a lot of my family stayed in some cabins that were out there. So I run over and I got my brother, and he happened to be, he's a police officer. And he was talking to the park police there. They were all there. And they ended up coming over there, and my brother's like, Ray, wake up. He's like, he's sleepwalking. I was like, he's not sleepwalking. He's talking. And he's saying gibberish. And my brother kept telling him, stop, Ray, stop. Because he was like plowing through people, like not him.
Mhm.
And my brother ended up, I don't know, he ended up getting him on the ground, and the other cop got on him, and they ended up getting him back in my camper. And then all at once, he just like snapped, and he was back into it. And he's like, what is going on? He had no idea, no recollection, nothing of whatever happened. So his mom was there, and dad were there too, but they weren't there at that instance. They were in their own camper sleeping, and I didn't bother them. But she said that when he was a young boy, 6 or 7 years old, he did the exact same thing. He hasn't done it since, knock on wood, that I know of. But that was scary. I got to tell you, that was pretty scary.
Yeah, something had to happen that kind of triggered him to do it then.
Yeah, he just said he was getting up to shut the windows in the truck. I thought he was awake. Maybe he probably wasn't.
Now, I haven't sleptwalked, but I've had conversations with people in my sleep that I didn't know I had.
Yeah.
So, other than that.
Yeah. I have, I'm not going to get to the sleepwalking people that I've seen sleepwalk because it's not appropriate for me to say what they did.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, I can tell. I guess I can say. It was my cousin Gary spending the night, and we were scared of Gary, little Gary, we called him. And he was kind of a psycho, but what I will say is this. He was sleepwalking, went down the hallway. This is according to my parents. We were all about 10 or 11. And he was sleepwalking, and he walked in their bedroom when my mom and dad were sleeping, and he started to urinate on their bed. And my dad is, sitting there, and all of a sudden his feet are getting soggy from something. And it was my cousin, little Gary. He's totally asleep, didn't know what he was doing. My dad goes, what the, little Gary? And then he snapped, oh, I'm sorry, Uncle Bob. My dad first was mad, but then he realized that he wasn't awake, right?
Yeah.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So my Aunt Kathy told my mom and dad, which my mom said, you should have told me about that earlier, Kathy. That your son does this.
Right.
So we would have at least been prepared. Because it kind of freaked him out, as it would freak anybody out.
Right. Yeah. It's scary when because Ray wasn't Ray. That was not him. He was like mean, and it just wasn't him. And he can't remember any of it. And I have no idea. I can't explain it. They say you're not supposed to wake up a person sleepwalking.
Yeah, I heard that too. No.
Yeah.
Supposed to.
And then this whole ordeal lasted about 45 minutes. So it lasted quite a while,
Mm.
So
they probably had a problem restraining him, didn't they?
What's that?
They had a problem restraining him, didn't they?
Yeah. Even my brother said he had like ungodly strength, and he's not a small guy. Ray is not a small guy. He's right at 6 feet, and he's not a little guy, but
sorry about jumping on you there, Brandy.
But he had
that's okay.
Yeah.
I've seen the YouTube videos and of this one woman who does it all the time. She does it all the time, and actually they're quite funny. Her husband doesn't wake her up. She's running around the house. She'll get dressed. She'll just start talking to things and acting like she's somewhere else and making funny sounds, and he just laughs at her.
And make sure she doesn't hurt herself. So
that's all he does. Make sure she don't get out of the house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they put cameras up in the house, and they put them right. They put them right on YouTube. I was like, I'm gonna have to kill my husband.
The thing was, though, I mean, it really could have turned dangerous for him,
Yeah.
because I mean, his feet were all tore up after it. It was they were bloody. It was a bad deal. And I think for sleepwalkers, like children or something, you really have to watch your
Yeah.
doors, and that's scary stuff.
Yeah, like Susie B asked a good question. Is I think I made mention I'm supposed to. She says, "Why is it not good to wake up a sleepwalker?" From what I've heard, and I'm not a professional. If you wake somebody up from sleepwalking, they're just much like us. They don't know what's going on. They get confused,
Yeah.
and they get very scared and start fighting or become outlandish with their
Yeah.
with their behavior.
Fight or
So
flight mode.
so you kind of want to treat them with kid gloves, I guess. Let them do with their business and follow them around and maybe hopefully guide them back to the bedroom or something. But
Yeah.
because they don't know, they're walking out, they have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like my
he's
brother
not
walking
doing
out a
radio.
ship. My
Yeah.
brother's walking out a ship in the middle of the Indian Ocean.
Right.
Didn't even know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That could have turned bad. That could have turned really bad.
He could have been not with us today. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. It's just, it's scary stuff,
Yeah.
And I wonder, is that, maybe on a paranormal level, or I don't know.
And then you hear about sleep paralysis, and
Hmm.
you guys know my experiences with thinking I had that, but we're not going to get into that, of course. It's just, yeah, strange. Yeah, I guess I have experienced quite a bit.
You have.
You
Just
have.
This has
everything.
gone from a
Yeah.
therapy session to an intervention.
Yeah. Well, if you guys want, we've been on for 2 hours and 22 minutes. We still have and thank you to everybody in chat. We still have 43 people total.
Yeah.
I don't know where you guys are at. You're scattered all over Blondes, Tex, and BMR. Thanks, everybody.
Mhm.
We all four of us appreciate
Yep. Absolutely.
each and every single one of you. Thanks, CJ, Crystal J, for the earlier super chat.
Yes. Thank
Love
you.
you. So
Thank you,
before
thank
we
you.
lose too many people, I guess you want to hear. Well, Randy didn't hear it, and probably at 3 a.m. a lot of people did not hear my coolest ghost encounter. You guys want to hear that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
It'd
Randy
be the
didn't hear
last
it.
story of the night.
Yeah. So
Hurry up before I fall asleep.
you won't be sleeping. You won't be sleeping with this one, Rando. I tell you. So as some people know, I owned a bar for 13 years, and throughout the years of owning it, I worked 10 in the morning till pretty much 3 in the morning every day but Sunday, because my NFL on Sunday, I didn't go to work.
Mhm.
So throughout the years, people said, told me, my employees or whatever said that, yeah, weird stuff kind of happened here and there. Breaking of dishes, tabletops that they cleaned off. All of a sudden, there'd be a beer bottle. Just little things that I blew off again, you guys, as I blow off everything. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. So there was a span where I had to work. I had set up an office in the basement. Now, to preface this building was built in the 1940s during Prohibition. So it's an older building, and the bar was cool up top, but there was a long creaky stairway that went into the basement, which I stored some stuff, but I set up an office to do all the book work, and I set up a place to go to sleep, because a lot of times you guys, you work till 3 a.m, you're not driving home.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, some nights I'd be partying with some of the people, the clients or the customers.
Yeah.
I'm not going nowhere. So there's a period where I had to work for like 2 straight weeks, 7 days every day. So close up the bar. And again, at the end of every night, when you lock up the doors, you check the bathrooms, you check and you look around, make sure everyone's out, because believe it or not, people pass out in the bathroom. Some dude goes in the stall, Randy, you know what I'm talking about. You're a bar manager.
Yep.
and they pass out and they're gone. So you always have to check all these things, men, women's. You look, you check it out. So everything's cool. I sent everybody home. I lock up all the doors. We had a front door, a back door. So I go in the basement, do paperwork. So I'm going through my things like 3:30 in the morning. And again, I'm down there working and I thought I heard like creaking upstairs, but then, which is not a big deal. It's an older building. But then I thought I heard people talking. So I'm like this. I'm like, put my hand in my ear. I'm trying to listen. I'm like, well, no, there's no one here. So I kind of blew it off. And then, but these voices upstairs in the bar area were still, I could hear some chatter. Can't make out the conversation. I walk up. So I now get out of my office and I go up the stairs. And when I get to the top of the stairs, from the top of the bottom where the office is, you can look out. I had a square bar right in front of the office. And to the left, there's another long one. So as I'm coming up the stairs, I can hear these voices. And when I get right to the top of the stairs, the voices stop. So I circle the bar. I look around. I'm like, Rob, you're working all these hours. You're hearing things. Go back downstairs. So now, after about 10 minutes, I hear the voices start again. So now I'm kind of like, well, come on. I'm thinking to myself, I'm overtired, right? That's all I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but I still have to think, I'm going to check this out. So I go upstairs. The voices are still continuing in a mimic speech. I make out what they're saying or what's being said. But I get to the top, and as I said, I had the square bar, and at the far right corner, on the corner, I'm now looking, I'm squinting my eyes, and on the far side of the bar, there's two, it appear to be women, and next to them, on the opposite side, on the corner, on the 90, was two dudes. But I'm looking though. This is what I initially thought. But I'm looking, but they're transparent. So I'm getting a little closer. I'm getting closer and closer, and I still hear the voices like they're talking. So I look. I get a little bit closer, 5-10 feet. Now I can make out. Now I see 4 apparitions, and they're all transparent. However, there's enough description and detail where it was 2 younger women, 30s probably, I guess. But yeah, I can see them, but I can see through them, and they look like flappers. They had the little,
Right.
you know how they wore those headbands, and they had the long cigarette holders, the frilly little dress, and the 2 men were dressed in like gangster suits, like John Dillinger.
20s era.
So they look like that time era. Now, keep in mind, this bar was there during that time period.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
To put that into perspective, which I found out later because I did research after, of course. So I'm looking, and these 4 apparitions are going at it, talking, and they're ignoring me, not even looking at me. And I get a little bit closer. Now I move towards the left far end of the bar opposite them. Now I'm at the bar rail where the 2 dudes are and the women on the opposite side. And I'm looking. And I'm not scared. I feel at ease. I feel calm because it was a very calming atmosphere. But they're not acknowledging me. And I get kind of like irritated that they're not even looking at me. So I take my fist and I pound it. I pound my fist at the end of the bar where they would hear it. And then all of a sudden the chatter stopped. The voices of communication stopped. And now I have their attention because all 4 turn their heads and look at me.
Wow.
And they look at me kind of smiled, I guess. I couldn't tell you what they did, but they looked directly at me. And again, they're transparent. I can see through them. I can see to the other side of the bar. So they gave me my, hey, we see you. Then they turned back and continued about their business. And then I verbalized, said, hey. They stopped again. They looked. Now, I have to preface this by saying the bar was totally cleaned off when I checked, because I double checked, triple checked. Then I realized that there's a fifth of Jack Daniels on the bar. There's 2 shot glasses in front of the 2 dudes, and there's a bottle of wine, and there's 2 wine glasses that I see now. I see these things that are physical. They're not inanimate like the ghosts. They were physical. Now they look at me, and the two shot glasses were filled. One was filled, the other one, and I could tell you how I know that the one was half filled, and the 2 wine glasses weren't filled, but you could tell there was remnants of wine in them. The one ghost closest to me looks at me, and you guys, the shot glass elevated from the bar top about a foot up from this ghost, and it's in this ghostly hand, but the shot glass is suspended in the air, but the hand is still transparent.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking to myself, how the hell is this possible? First of all, how is this shot glass floating?
Right.
And then looks at me and drops the shot glass. Now, Randy, you'll know this for a fact. The shot glass is, Randy, that's a thick glass. And I have the basic.
Yeah.
Shot glass hits the countertop and it shatters. It explodes.
Just for that little drop?
Dropped it, yeah, from 12 inches, Randy. And
there's no way.
There's no, yes, exactly. That's why I'm perplexed. And it broke and it's blasted. And all these apparitions now looking at me, and then all of a sudden, I'm kind of chilled now. The 4 apparitions, they looked like they were in their 30s, probably late 20s, 30s, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And they started to morph, and they started to get older and older, almost to skeleton form, and faded away into dust.
Wow.
And now, it's not, the story ain't done yet. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I go to the bar. I know that if there's something, if the Jack Daniels whiskey bottles there and these glasses there, I know something happened, because I know for a fact, I bet it on my own life that it was not there. And sure enough, I go, splinters of glass from the shot glass, the disbursement of the whiskey all over. I put my hand in it, smelt it. The whiskey bottle was cracked. It was a brand new bottle. The label, Randy, you know how the label comes from the cap, and that was cracked. The wine had an uncorked wine. There was remnants of wine in the 2 glasses.
Wow.
And yes,
that's crazy.
That is.
Yeah. And that's, I swear on my life, I seen that. Next day I go to work and I get there early. In fact, I stayed I did stay because I wasn't going nowhere. I said, well, screw it. They seem nice. But by the time this happened, you guys, the bar was opening in 3 hours. So why am I going to drive home?
Exactly.
So the cook comes in, my head waitress comes in, barmaid, and I say, you guys ain't going to believe this. And I told them the story. And I'm expecting them to give me the finger, you're drunk, you've been up all night, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then they began to say, see, we've been telling you, because these guys worked for me for 10 of my 13 years. They were with me for 10 years. Rob, we always told you creepy shit happens, but you never believed me, us.
Yeah.
But not as creepy as this. I can, falling dishes, I could probably explain away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they went on to tell me that every night, all the time, they would always swear to me that they would always clean up. And you guys, I had great employees. They were fantastic. they'd always say they cleaned up all the beer bottles, they would clean up the ashtrays, they would clean up glasses, put it away. But every time they went into the office to do the book work, every time it was time to go, there would be 2 beer bottles left on a table, a shot glass left here, and they know that they put it away. They said that happens every month, once or twice a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, and so, that place was haunted.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
And I
crazy.
wish I still
Wow.
owned it because I know Brandy and Krista would have come investigate
Heck
it.
yeah.
Well, heck
I sold it in 2020, right before COVID. I don't know. I guess people said people said a premonition. I had no idea that 3 months later, that 3,000 businesses, restaurateurs, and bar owners would go out of business.
Yeah.
So the guy sold it to, guess what happened?
Out of
He
business.
went out of business, and now it's sitting there. It's a piece of crap, weed infested.
Wow.
No one
That's
takes
sad.
care of
Haven't been
it.
touched since, yeah.
They haven't been touched
sad.
since. In fact, I tell you what, if I had the money, I'd buy it back just to investigate it. I want to get in that place now and see what's
Well,
going on
if
inside
it's
there
been
now.
foreclosed on, the bank probably owns it. You might be able
Yeah,
to get into it anyway.
I might just break in there.
Yeah.
Well, just find out. You can just go down to your
Yeah, I haven't done it in a
local
while. Yeah, I go
offices
down.
and-
Yeah, I know, but I don't think it's all. They're out of business. He might still own the property. This
Mhm.
guy, John, his name's John.
you can
But I
Google
haven't
it.
called him. Yeah, but every time I call him, he don't return my calls because he thinks that I effed him.
Yeah.
You know how that goes. Shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's
Rob,
like having-
you knew you were going out of business. Yeah, I predicted COVID, dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You
so-
can't.
So
yeah.
that's so he don't really dig me.
Well, that being said, if y'all end up coming down for the I guess Dogman time frame, I guess that's in September, if I'm not mistaken.
Labor
If
Day
y'all end up-
weekend.
If y'all end up coming down for that, I'll try and square away where we can do an investigation down at the bar that I will run. So
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd
I've
do
done
that.
Yeah,
did it
we will
once.
be down. We are coming to the Dogman conference.
Okay.
Brandy and I are.
Because I did one, just a makeshift. I took a couple of wireless cameras in there and set everything up, and I ran my own stuff. Had a little EMF and a thermal and a couple of things like that. And I had the bar owner with me. Of course, he was drunk
Yeah.
at the time anyway, but I had the bar owner with me, and we were doing it. And a couple of things happened. I thought he was going to break the door down trying to get out of there. So, and
Wow.
everybody that works there knows there's a couple of them. They're there.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
Yeah.
you do realize if we do go in there, Chris and I doing our investigations, things might get even more crazier after we're gone.
just bring it. That's all I got to tell them.
Okay. All
Because
right.
honestly, that place has been there since the early '70s. The first iteration we got it built there. It's been added on to, obviously, but some of the basic stuff. The old man that built the bar, he died, and everybody believes he's in there. There's what we call the Duster Man. The girls call him George. They just gave him the nickname of George, but it looks like an old cowboy in a duster, or a shadow person, if you're gonna call it that. But
Yeah.
he's been seen by countless people.
Wow.
And
Cool.
there's times you go in there to open it up in the morning, and you're just like, okay, guys, you need to leave me alone right now. I don't want to deal with you. So
Mhm.
you just get that feeling, So,
Right.
but
Yeah, totally understand.
and
Oh yeah,
just
I'd love to
old
do it.
timers, yeah. So I mean, it's not a big space. It's real easy to do, and well, I'll see if I can get it. I'll have to keep him away from it because he'll get in there and get drunk, and then we'll have to throw him out anyway. So.
Well, let us know exactly when. I think we're planning on heading out. What, Thursday? Weren't
Thursday
we?
night. Yeah, we've already got the hotel for that one, right? If I remember
Yes,
correctly.
we have a hotel,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I
you
don't-
guys,
So we're
you know,
good.
The Blondes and Booze has sent me a whatever the hell that is on the computer you did. What's that called? Spreadsheet. You
Yeah.
guys got like 15 things you're doing this year.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Doing this year, doing it in the next 2 months.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's like what they're doing 1
Yeah.
year of stuff in like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Well, and
We
that's
stay
normal.
busy.
I mean, it's normal for me. The conferences are new for me. I'll
Well,
do
your
maybe one or two.
investigations are not. Yeah. Yeah.
I maybe do one or two. But I investigate. As soon as things start opening, I'm gone. I mean, I'll do 2 or 3 a month.
Mhm.
So this is not out of the ordinary for me. It's just adding in the conferences to my
Right.
already, what I do already. So
Yeah.
I've kind of had to leave some investigating out to go to conferences, which is okay,
And
I,
Yeah.
I have fun doing both.
Yeah, we do. We
Yeah,
enjoy
I
both.
do. I do highly recommend people going to conferences. They are fun,
Mhm. And you get
and
to
you
meet a
meet a
lot
lot of
of
cool people.
people.
I tell
networking.
you what I enjoyed most is networking, but what I did enjoy most because I went to two last year, but it's cool because a lot of people that are like in chat, like right now,
Mhm.
not tonight though, but
Mhm.
or people that watch the show, I met a lot of them, a handful in
Yeah.
person. Now
Yeah.
that for me was like kick ass.
Mhm. Us too. I mean,
Putting a face to like, Susie B, or
Yeah.
just as an
sure.
example. Now I saw someone in person, shook their
Mhm.
hand,
Yeah.
talked. That to me was fabulous.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. Same thing when Brandy and I went to Michigan. We met Jim and I met.
Oh God, yeah. I was so disappointed, you guys.
Yeah, I know. We were so close to you too.
Yeah.
You should have came Friday. You should have just come
58
Friday,
minutes.
come in
Yeah,
that
well,
morning and
yeah,
just stayed.
I know.
Yep.
Well,
It was
trust me. Once you guys meet me in person, it'll be like, God damn, get this guy away from me.
no,
That's what I
no.
said.
Yeah. Oh, Randy. I had to deal with Randy for 2.5 hours. He had to deal with me.
In a little
I'm like,
bitty car.
Randy, what's that? Rob, it's a hill. It's just a
Rob,
hill.
Rob, that's a tree.
Yeah. Randy, what's this big ass gas station? Now that
It's a
was a treat.
Buc-ee's.
Yeah,
I
Bucky's.
I have I have never been to a Buc-ee's.
Me
I
either.
gotta tell you something. I was in Texas driving with Randy for at least 3 hours, and I loved Texas. I loved that little town we were in. But the thing I remember most was Bucky's for some damn reason.
Well, you know how I am. I run across something that I've never seen. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
can foresee Bucky's is going to be like an hour and a half stop, just
Yep.
so I can look at
Oh,
It was
everything.
Randy,
what,
yes.
45 minutes for us.
Yeah, man, and they had a wall of beef jerky
Uh-huh.
and they had Christmas stuff in there. I told Randy if I had like $500 on me just to blow, I'd have bought all Christmas stuff to bring home. I could have fit it on the
And that
plane
was in
now.
October.
Yeah,
It was in October.
yeah. But
That's-
So are you
Randy,
ready for
though,
that, Krista? Because it's happening. It's
and
happening.
you know what though, Randy? I heard that where we were though in that part of Texas is supposed to be haunted as well, right?
What's that, over in Jefferson?
Jefferson, yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah,
supposed to be
it's
haunted,
fun.
yeah.
It's the paranormal. You might as well call that the paranormal slash Bigfoot capital of Texas, because that's where all the stuff happens. I shouldn't say all the stuff with the Bigfoot. It's where the conference happens. But I try next time I go to one of those. Of course, I'm not a big conference guy either. But if I go to another one of those, I'm staying at that Jefferson Hotel that's there. It is rumored to be stupid haunted. And the people we were sitting at the bar with, they were actually got a room in it, and they were going into it, and they were asking me about it. I said, "Well, you got to watch for this room and this room, and this room. They got this, they got that, And I'd give them a little spiel on it and everything. I said, "There's not many people that go in there that don't come out saying, yeah,
Yeah.
it's haunted."
Mhm.
Yeah. And Brandy and Chris, I don't know if you guys like this, but when I broke away from the conference, I walking by myself
Mhm.
because they had somebody's like he's talking about some of these old saloons and hotels and even like these little, I don't know, little shops, olden days. I dig that stuff. So I was taking
Yeah.
pictures. I was going in, walking around, and stuff.
Right.
And I got lost in it for like 3-4 hours by myself. It was
Oh, yeah.
It's
fabulous.
got a lot of stuff to see too. I mean,
Oh yeah, man. I loved it. I liked that place. It was really cool.
I'm looking forward to coming to Texas. I think we're all gonna have a good time for sure.
So yeah, but I have a different perspective on Texas. But that's not Texas, right, Randy? I mean,
What?
where we were,
Yeah,
that
that's
town.
Texas.
Yeah, but like Texas, where you guys live, there ain't stuff like that where you live.
We're just a little bit west of it. That's all. That East Texas is more pine trees and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Whereas you get to where I'm at, this used to be called what's it called, the live oak section or whatever.
yeah,
North Central Texas is just oak trees and kind of arid, but it's still wet. Versus what East Texas is, which is monsoony almost, if you want to get right down to it.
Right.
And then you go down to the hill country, Austin, San Antonio, that kind of area. Anybody's driven down through there knows it gets rocky real quick down there, and it can be ugly. But if you go on 45 between Dallas and Houston, you got the Sam Houston National Forest down there, and that is an amazing area.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
It was funny for me too, because when I went to Texas my first time, we went to San Antonio, and I
Mhm.
remember in the airplane and looking, and all I saw was desert and swimming pools.
yeah, that's about right. You went in the summer, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, all the lawns were dead.
yeah,
There's no green anywhere.
No.
yeah.
And see,
no,
I was
they're-
stationed out in El Paso, so I had to drive. It took me longer to drive from El Paso to Fort Worth area than it took me to drive from El Paso to California.
Oh,
Oh man,
So,
that's crazy.
Wow.
and you
Well,
want
I'm
to talk
sure-
about a whole bunch of nothing? There's nothing out there.
Right.
well, with Texas, you could take Michigan twice and Missouri twice and fit it inside of Texas, and still make another state out of it.
Right.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
From El Paso to Tyler or Longview, whatever's right there on the border there on the east side from El Paso, it's about 1,400 miles, I think.
Wow.
And from Brownsville, which is the southern tip, all the way up to Amarillo area in the Panhandle, it's somewhere around 1,100 to 1,200 miles.
Wow.
Oh, gosh.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's a 2-day trip across.
Yeah, it sounds like it. You know, it's funny because I've told Brandy this. I go to Kansas City area a lot, and it's about a 3-hour drive for me to go over there.
Mhm.
And now, like we've been going to the LBL and to go to Bart and Letitia Nunley's house, it's a 3-hour trip the other way. However, I go through Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, and then into Kentucky. So it's just
Yeah.
weird to go through 4 different states in 3 hours. Then I can go to Kansas City, stay in the same state. It's just weird.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yep, it's crazy. So who knows? Weird stuff.
Well, I've got 32 miles to Arkansas.
Yep.
I've got 50 miles to Illinois. I've got probably about 65, 70 to Tennessee. So, I mean, it's all right here for me.
Wow, you're in a good spot.
She ain't got far to go to LBL then.
No.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Her
It depends
drive's
on what
like
side
me.
you go in. If you go on
Yeah.
the Kentucky side, it's going to take me about 4 hours because I have to go all the way around to it. Just
Yeah,
like she
yeah.
said, I don't go through Indiana, but I do go through Illinois. But if I go on the Tennessee side, 2.5, 3 hours maybe.
I was about
Yeah.
to say, you get down there on 40, don't you, and shoot across.
Yeah, so actually, Brandy, you're close to the Falk Monster area too.
Yeah, I'm actually about 5, 6 hours from there.
We're actually stopping there on our way to Texas.
On the way
That's-
through.
Yeah,
Yep.
we are going to spend the night somewhere in that area, and then
If you see Keith, say hi.
Right?
Keith Crabtree. If you see him, say
Yeah.
hi. Tell him the what did he call me? We were going back and forth about BSing at Mineola, and he said, "Well, don't worry about it. People need potato diggers too." I'm like, "Oh crap, here we go."
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's great people. He really is.
In fact, really quick, Randy, I was talking to Duke because he's at the Nebraska conference.
Yes.
Keith Crabtree said, "Oh my God, Rob!" He called me like yesterday. Did his first ever public spiel like we did in
He actually
Alabama.
talked.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he did, and I guess everyone was like just their jaws dropped.
Well,
when he had to
I
say.
mean, he was there for it all, I mean, he literally,
Yeah.
even though he played the monster, his family is what that's based on. So,
yes,
hell,
right, yeah.
he should
Yeah,
know everything about it. And
Yeah, he
quite
actually
frankly, he's
spoke.
just fun to talk to. He really is.
Well,
Mhm.
Duke said he recorded it because he said Keith let him do it, so it's to be part of his show in a couple months.
That's cool.
He's gonna release that. Yeah.
I like seeing him doing that kind of stuff. So,
Oh yeah,
And
he's a good guy.
Krista, all I can say about this is when we do stop, I stopped there before. I've been there. 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and you've done the whole thing.
Oh,
Actually, the whole town.
Yeah.
40, 45
Unless
minutes.
you're
You're
staying
done.
there for the camp out, you ain't missing a whole lot.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
you're done. There's not much to it.
Yeah.
Cute little place, But yeah. And
Our
and,
plans-
and
our
you know,
plans
everybody
were
knows me.
Yeah, our plans are Barton and Letitia's going to ride down with us. So they're going to come here, and then we're all going to go to Brandy's, and then we're going to drive.
We're gonna shoot on down.
Yep, and then stay
Okay.
somewhere in that area, and then get up in the morning and do breakfast, and then head into
Probably
Texas.
in Texarkana.
Yeah, Texarkana right there. So
Yep.
That's our plans. That's what we're doing, and
all right, keep an eye open for the gypsies coming in. Got it.
Are they coming in
gypsies.
now?
Do what?
When are they coming in now?
No, I don't know when you coming.
I like barter with the gypsies.
May? In May?
she's
Man.
Oh, you
coming
don't-
in May, but I'm not
You-
coming until September for the Dogman Conference.
Okay, but you're coming to do that one house, right?
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Well-
just wondering, you guys are going to Iowa too, right? For the that one haunted house,
Malvern.
Malvern.
and that's in Iowa.
Yes.
It is. And while we're talking about it, let me throw the flyer up here real
Cha-ching.
quick. There it is. So it is Saturday, July 8th this year. Tickets are on sale, and we've limited it to just 20. Actually, we were selling more than that, but we've got so many great people coming. And so we thought more people can get more one-on-one time. Josh Hurd, he owns the place. He is part of Nick Groff's G Crew. He's awesome. He's been on several TV shows. Dr. Rebecca Foster, she too. We actually had her on Blondes here about a month ago or so. She is absolutely awesome, and she's a Bigfoot gal too. So that's kind of cool. And then Richard Estep. Brandy and I met him up in Michigan, and his table was right across from ours. So we just all kind of clicked and talked, and said he'd come on the show, and he's wrote a book on Malvern Manor, so he's going to be there. So that'd be cool to have him sign it, and then while Josh is there, because Josh is going to hang out with us, to have him sign too. And then Terry Mosby, a lot of people have seen her in chat. She's a good friend of ours. She does the paranormal, and then she's our UFO go-to gal. And then, of course, everybody knows Tex. And then hopefully we're hoping Randy will come, and Ben Mar, the invite is open for you as well.
I know.
Yep. So, and it's an overnight, and
That's why I was asking about Iowa. Is there anything else to do
Yeah.
other than eat corn and stuff like that?
well, this is in the middle of nowhere. I'm telling you, Malvern.
They got a bar across the street.
They do.
Is it
They
haunted?
do.
Well, good. We're good to go right there.
Does it matter? You
Yeah.
can make
They do
anything
have-
haunted after you've had a couple
Yes.
drinks.
Yeah, you can. Well, yeah. Apparently, I'm haunted anyways. So
They do have
Exactly.
good
You'll bring them
food.
right in.
They
Yeah.
do have good food at that bar. So if anybody's interested, you can find the event on Blondes and Booze Facebook page, or go to Eventbrite. And if you type in Malvern Manor, it's the first one that comes up.
Right.
Yeah. So you can get tickets, and it's just going to be a fun night with all of us, and everybody will, get some one-on-one time with some of the celebrities and stuff. So it'd be fun.
Mhm.
That did not even sound right, did it? I heard you laugh, Rob.
yeah. Well, you know what?
Like-
We are. Never mind. Yes, celebrity. I guess, kind of. I guess.
Celebrities. Lord.
Well,
1%,
Josh,
1%.
Richard, Rebecca,
Mm.
they do it.
They're up there. They're on TV.
Yes. Yep, they're TV.
Well,
Yeah.
we kind of are too, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of on
Kind of.
TV. Well, we're on the
Yeah.
radio. We're on the radio.
We're on the radio and TV, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
however you want to call it.
And everybody out there's listening
Right.
going, they're what? They're doing what again? The hell?
Right. Crystal J, she says, I would like to see you guys go to the Myrtle Plantation, Louisiana. That's
Oh,
all.
That's a
Um,
bucket list one.
Yeah.
That's a bucket list one right there. But I've also heard that there's also a bunch of that's got to go into it too.
Yes, it's one of the more expensive ones to get to.
And that's one of the things I don't like doing. I don't like going to a place and paying to go in and investigate it.
Yeah. See,
Right.
there you go. There's Lily. Lovely Lily. You're on my TV.
See?
All right.
Well, Randy,
You-
on that
Ain't
note,
silly.
on that note, Randy, about paying to go in, I
Yeah.
understand only because my very good friend runs the Ray County Museum,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they, she's missed many paychecks since COVID hit because they don't have the money. So events that she allows to go there, that money gets donated back to that location.
Exactly.
And it helps to keep the lights on, and there's repairs and maintenance in these old buildings. So
Well, yeah.
I
Definitely.
support paying reasonably.
Yes,
an amount.
reasonably.
Right.
Yes.
Like the one she's going to, we've done before, and while I kind of, but I've got to know the people that run it, and I'm like, well, they do what they have to do to kind of keep it going, and they've even had Travel Channel in there and stuff. So it's one of those things like you're like, okay, I can understand why, but it still is one of those things like there's so much out there that you can go investigate that you don't have to do that with. You know what I mean? So I that's why on the one of the Texas groups that I'm on, the Texas paranormal groups that I'm on Facebook, people that reach out for help, that's the ones I'm trying to help. So
yeah, I understand that. Yep, absolutely.
Well, I kind of think about it as what I do for fun. Most of the time. People go fishing or they go hiking or they do what they go to the beach, whatever. They put lots of money into doing that also.
Right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Trust me, I got
that's where their money goes. Mine
with
goes to this. This is what I do for fun.
Yeah.
Well, Brandy, I remember going one day fishing for fun.
Yes, you do, don't you?
And then it turned into a nightmare.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Haven't been fishing since?
I have at the river.
Okay.
Yep. Not up there though, no.
Oh,
Have you been
I
back
didn't think
to
so.
the site?
I've been back there. No, hell no.
No. Yeah.
Nah.
No.
Anyway,
Too scary.
ladies and gentlemen, we got to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds to 3 hours show.
Wow.
It's 4 in the morning. What am I going to do now? I think I'm going to have to make me some bacon and eggs and some pancakes or something.
I'm gonna hold this over all y'all's head for keeping me up this late.
Oh, Randy. Oh
we
my God.
do get Randy tomorrow.
Oh my God, you guys. Something just brushed
tomorrow.
against my leg.
Oh, yeah.
It must be. Yeah. I'm going to have some bacon, some eggs, and some pancakes. I ain't going to bed now.
Yeah.
Oh,
I normally get up at 6.
what is it with
Not
knowing
today, you won't be.
food?
Huh?
If I
you
lived
won't
by
be.
any one of you, I'd be like 500 pounds. I swear. 500 pounds. I'd all be eating all
Brandy,
the time.
I don't do like that every day. Brandy, if you're here, I cook you one strip of bacon, one sausage, and one egg. You'll be fine.
Okay, good. Make sure I get a piece of toast.
If it's only one,
Half a piece. I'll give you
one-
some wheat toast, Brandy.
wait a second. One strip of bacon is only a tease. You cannot just have one strip of bacon.
I agree, Randy.
Oh no! If I make bacon, I usually make the whole package.
That's what I do too. Yeah,
Me too.
because it'll get.
And I won't eat the whole thing. What I'll do, I'll make a burger in the afternoon and put the bacon on my burger.
throw
Yeah.
throw it on a egg sandwich and throw some mayo
I'll
on
throw
it.
it on anything. I'll throw it on a Snickers bar for God's sakes.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Bacon with anything is good.
Yes,
Anything.
bacon makes everything better.
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So we
It's
are.
our next show, Bacon with Brandy.
Hey, I've already got a thing out there with the Tippet TV girl, Marianne. We're gonna have a
Yeah.
throwdown one of these days out
Figure
in
it
one of the investigations. So
Make sure I'm invited.
not after
Pammy-
you kept me up
oh.
till 3 a.m.
Pammy Smith has something that I didn't want to hear at the end of the night. Bacon never leaves your body.
I beg to differ. Tomorrow morning it will.
And
A
then
little bit
Lily
smooth.
Pond's
Thank you,
making me
Pammy.
hungry. She said, I made a bacon and artichoke heart ranch pasta salad today. That sounds pretty good to me.
That does sound good.
Yeah. So,
No, because
anyway.
I actually gonna make something. I'm starving like a mother effer right now.
Well, you know what? Before we went on, I was starving, so I made me some noodles. I had noodles. Well, I was.
No, I
eating
seen you
Krista's
eat it
go-to.
earlier. Yeah, that was 3 hours ago.
right.
It's Krista's go-to when
Yeah.
she gets hungry.
Noodles.
She
I
loves her
tell you,
noodles.
Krista, I
Yeah.
eat
That's
along with you
ramen.
this time too.
Yeah.
I
Well,
could eat with both Chris and Brandy. You both like what I like because I love noodles as well. I
Yep.
like noodles with a little sour cream in them.
oh, I've never had that.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, really?
I
Oh,
throw
try
butter
it.
and Parmesan.
What kind of noodles are we talking about here? We talking about ramen?
No,
I
no.
Yeah.
That's noodles to me. That's the good old fashioned broke food. That's
Yeah.
what we like.
Randy, there's like 8 different noodle groups.
Ramen. That's all that matters.
There's 8 different noodle groups,
Well,
Randall.
last time Brandy was at my house, we had noodles, didn't we, Brandy?
Yeah, we did. Yes, we
Middle of the
did.
night noodles. Yeah, it's always a good go-to.
We love our carbs. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, anyway, Krista, you
So
want
do
to
I.
take us out?
Yeah, we'll keep going if you don't fucking just
I know.
end it.
Just
Yeah, he's tired. See,
I'm ready to swear, and it's 4 a.m. Let's go.
All right.
watch some
All right.
bacon.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate each and every one of you. Good
We
night.
do.
Bye.